What's going on, folks? And thank you for tuning in with me to another edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody this is episode number 627. Episode number 627 for all the folks that are keeping track of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before we get into anything else, I'd like to ask everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire. All right, spread it across the internet and throughout the world, and let everybody let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house, and we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas Time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And once again, I love being independent now. Okay, type this in your browser right now, and of course, add it to your bookmarks, add it to your favorites, the following, ghost.report, all right? It's as simple as that. That's all you got to do. Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. So I want everybody to go ahead and add that to your bookmarks, add that to your favorites. And before we get into anything else, I want to say what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room in the house. How you doing? How you doing, for Christ's sake? Anyway, before I get started, follow me on my only social media on the internet today, and that's on Gab, folks, all right? And if you don't have yourself a free Gab account, well, then I strongly advise you getting you one. And once you do, go ahead and follow me under the name Politics Ghost, all right? All one word, no underscores, okay? Politics Ghost is the name to follow on Gab. And once again, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room with everybody in here. What's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room? Once again, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, then all you got to do is go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, and click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do that, private message me on Gab. Private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will be sure to private message you back with your own private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room, all right? It's that simple, baby. It's that simple. So come on down and make sure to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room, man. It's fun. We're doing all kinds of tomfoolery. We're doing all kinds of stuff in there, baby. All right, and I want to say what's up. Let's see who's in here. Let's see what's going on in here. Let's go ahead and see what's going on with everybody already in here. What's going on to, let's see, we got the God of Rage already in the house, Pepe the Frog, Metaform, Lesbians Yearn for Aesthetic Sperm. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, Hambone Capitalist, Funky Butt Lovin', Distilling in the house. We've got Stagio, Hoodie, Herb Capitalist. What's going on? If you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, baby, then come on down. Come on down, for Christ's sake. Anyway, folks, we got a lot of things to talk about. As a matter of fact, I really don't want to give any kind of preamble of any sorts because we got a lot of things to discuss. All right, we got a lot of things to talk about. I may just go right into the nitty-gritty of the financial components of the broadcast because there's probably a lot of things that people want to know. You know, they want to know what's going on. They want to hear what's going on. They want to know, hey, Ghost, what the hell's going on in the stock market? What's going on out here, man? Well, let's just go ahead and get right to it, okay? Let's just go ahead and get right into the financial portion of the broadcast. And, because, man, look, listen to all these production notes that I've got here, man. I got a whole shitload of them, for Christ's sake. It's the beginning of a damn novel. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk some cryptocurrency right away. Now, folks, I want to be completely honest with you. Right now, we're seeing a slight contraction in the cryptocurrency markets, but I think that right now is the ripe time. the ripe time to get into the cryptocurrency market in whatever cryptocurrency that you've been eyeballing if you've been listening to this broadcast. Because, folks, in my opinion, you're hearing it from CNBC, you're hearing it from the Fox businesses, the Bloombergs, that they are expecting an increase in the cryptocurrency markets, and a lot of it has to do with the ETF enthusiasm. ETF enthusiasm, meaning there's going to be an exchange-traded fund in relation to cryptocurrency. Now, that's going to bring in a lot of legitimate money from institutional investment. But aside from that, folks, I personally believe the reason that the stock market's going down, and I might as well go ahead and go to it right now. I'm not going to cover the stock market, but I am going to let everybody know why we saw such a dramatic decrease in the stock market and why the reasons that we saw a decrease today in the stock market is going to bring an increase in the crypto markets. Now, first and foremost, folks, what have I told you about bonds and how they are used to be sold on the international market so that they can fund our United States debt? Every time we add more and more to the United States national deficit, folks, we have to have somebody purchase that debt with interest. And what the Treasury does is they have a bond auction every time the United States wants more and more debt so that we can cover the costs of running the country and other pork barrel spending projects that Washington, D.C. has put this country into. The point is that because we spend money and the amount of income tax that we generate as far as a country is concerned, it doesn't pay anything on the national debt, folks. It only pays the interest on that debt. All right? It only pays the interest on that debt. Now, with that being said, because we are having people not coming to those bond auctions, meaning that there's not as many investors in the international market wanting to purchase our debt. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, we have an America First policy, both domestic and international, and a lot of the folks are not very happy with the fact that we have such an America First approach. And traditional countries like China and Britain and the EU and other such countries which had investors massively purchasing our debt are not there anymore. And if they are there, we have to sweeten the deal by raising the bond yields so that people could purchase our debt. And as a result, we are witnessing that right now, folks. I talked about it on the last broadcast in, Monday, that we saw bond yields go as high as levels of 2011. Well, folks, today, the 2-year bond yields have reached as high as 2008 levels. Now, that right there was a scary indicator for most institutional investors in the stock market today. And that is once again why you saw a massive sell-off in the stock market, which is what we're going to talk about here in a second. But once again, there's not that many people that want to purchase our debt. There's a lot of reasons for it. Obviously, it's political. Obviously, it's America First. So to encourage international investment into our debt, we have to heighten the bond yields. And right now, folks, 2-year bond yields, which is very short. I mean, this means that people want to cash out in 2 years after holding the bond. That means in 2 years, we're going to have to figure out a way to pay that interest. Hence, this is why I'm telling you, folks, all the people that work, all the people that own businesses in the United States, all the taxes that are generated from all of us it just barely pays for the interest. It pays nothing for the principal. I mean, what is the U.S. national debt principal right now? Was it $21 trillion? $21 trillion is our deficit, and all of our taxes, both individual and business, corporate, everything, can barely pay the interest on that deficit, and we continue to increase that deficit. Now, that's why I told you, folks, that the crypto markets are going to be a safe haven for investors even if the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, which is what the Federal Reserve has done. Now, if you want my opinion, folks, I think that the Federal Reserve is being somewhat nefarious, raising the interest rates as high as they've gone. In the most recent raising of the interest rates by the Federal Reserve, we saw interest rates go as high as 2 to 2.25%. I mean, what are housing mortgages? What are the interest rates now? Was it like 5 or 6% with good credit? It's unheard of. Now, why would the Federal Reserve want to do that, folks? If you want my opinion, I don't think that the Federal Reserve is on board with the America First economic policies of Donald Trump. And I think that the most inappropriate thing to do, and the president has commented on this every time he's made any kind of statements on the economy, he stated that he would prefer that the Federal Reserve not raise interest rates because right now we are coming out of the Great Recession that was all of the Obama administration. We're coming out from that Great Recession. We have low taxes. We've got investment coming back to America. We've got production coming back to America. We've got wages for the first time in about 25, 30 years raising substantially. We've got all the recipes for a full-fledged, full-growth economy right now. And for whatever reason, the Federal Reserve wants to stymie it by raising the interest rates in a very dramatic fashion this last time. So, I even said, folks, that even if the Federal Reserve raises the interest rates that high, that the Treasury bond yields will eventually offset the value of the dollar, even though you've got the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. Now, aside from a lack of enthusiasm whenever we sell our debt on the world market, causing us to increase our bond yields, we now have economic warfare, folks, with a lot of people in the international community. And obviously this stems from, once again, the America First policy and what Trump has done by approaching all nations that we have a substantial trade deficit with on an annual basis, renegotiating those trade deals. And because you have a lot of hard negotiating at those trade deals, you have a lot of these folks now selling off debt, selling off bonds. And you combine the fact that you've got high bond yields for anyone now purchasing our debt, you times that with people like China and other investors in the EU that are selling off our bonds just to make us look economically weak. I mean, this is what's causing the major mess up in the Treasury market right now. And that Treasury disaster that we are witnessing right now, a lack of buyers for our debt, our bonds, and the sell-off from folks that are, we don't know if they're allies, enemies, what, China, EU. Lots of folks are selling off our bonds, folks. And this is also what's causing the Treasury yields to go up tremendously high. Now, I know that spells disaster for the stock market at this point, but we pretty much had to anticipate it. That's why I said I was bullish. And you can look back in the archives, whether it's the ones on Ghost.Report or the old archives at blogtalkradio.com/ghost. I said that I was bullish for 2018 until the fourth quarter. And that's what we're headed into right now, folks. We're headed into the fourth quarter of business, and now we're starting to see a little bit of apprehension as a result of the things that I prognosticated. Now, how does this help the cryptocurrency markets? Well, right now, folks, the United States dollar is king of fiat currencies. But if the Treasury yields and the lack of enthusiasm of people wanting to purchase our debt, and we have people selling off our bonds, if it's going to affect the integrity of our currency, because it is, obviously, it's going to bring the currency value down, even though we have Federal Reserve interest rates high, then where is an investor to go to cash out? Where is there an investor to go to hold their capital? And this is where cryptocurrency is going to find its blow up, in my personal opinion, folks. I think that cryptocurrency is about to blow up because right now, if cryptocurrency wasn't around, folks, we would see everybody moving their assets slowly but surely back into the traditional safe havens of gold and silver. That's what we'd be seeing. But you see, with gold and silver, you don't have any kind of dramatic profit yields. You're just putting it there, hopefully, to save whatever money that you have. But in the cryptocurrency market, it provides a whole new arena of putting one's wealth. For instance, in the more accepted cryptocurrencies that are accepted to, for exchange of goods and services, folks, and those are mostly the ones that I try to cover on this broadcast, those are the ones that are going to be attractive for holding wealth. Because, look, let's say you have a good stock move, but the United States dollar, the value is going down because the damn bond yields are so damn ridiculous that it's affecting the value. You don't want to hold your cash in U.S. dollars at that point. Just like people didn't want to hold their cash in U.S. dollars when the Federal Reserve was doing nothing but printing out more money, printing out more money. They were looking for other avenues to hold their capital, other currencies, other stocks, other financial instruments. And this is where cryptocurrency, folks, is going to take off. And I can feel it. I can feel it right now because the only other alternative from cryptocurrency is gold and silver. That's it. I mean, it's not even, if you want my personal opinion, it's not even bonds. You can't even go to bonds anymore and think that it's going to be certain. Because even though the bonds are really, really attractive in their yields, look at our fiscal situation as a country, man. Why do you think Donald Trump is making so much room in cutting people from the federal government's payroll and trying to get money from countries in which we are protecting, like Saudi Arabia and Japan and South Korea? Why do you think he's doing all this, man? He's got to offset the outgoing expenses from the amount of debt that we owe and the interest we must pay. That's what we're doing. And I'm telling you right now, in my personal opinion, this next election, it is in 2018, this one coming up here in about 20-something days, this is so important, folks, because this is going to tell the tale whether or not we're going to have a Republican majority, a red wave, in which we can stop this amongst a whole plethora of different problems that we're having economically, politically, and socially. But this is one of them, folks. I'm starting to believe now, at this point, given the current state of the international community, our national deficit is getting to the point where it may become a national security issue. And we as a country, we need to start recognizing this and coming up with a solution. And if we don't, folks, we run the risk of doing another 2008, 2009. Why do you think we had a major sell-off today in the stock markets? The bond yields went as high as 2008 levels. I mean, even if you don't even know shit from Shinola about the history of business, I mean, just hearing the fact that the bond yields are as high as 2008 recession years, that's going to throw some red flags in any investor's head. And as a result, that's why we saw a sell-off in the stock market. But as I stated, folks, I can feel it. All right? I can feel it right now that cryptocurrency, and I'm talking about the major ones. I'm talking about the ones that people can trust, the ones that have been around. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a place to put wealth. Why? Because you could potentially increase your money while holding it in a cryptocurrency. And I already told you why everybody's going to crypto, folks, because right now, as we see the entire economic landscape on an international basis, the United States U.S. currency is king of fiat right now. But as you can see in the stock market, and international investors are going to recognize this, all right, that the United States is having trouble. We're having trouble having investors purchase our debt. We're having to increase our bond yields. Now, why is it so important? Why is it so scary that our bond yields rose, you know? Why? Because, folks, especially the 2-year bond yields. The 2-year bonds right now are as high as 2008. That means in 2 years, whoever's buying our debt, whoever's purchasing the bond yields at these high levels, at 2008 levels, we're going to have to pay them. We're going to have to pay them those bond yields for them purchasing our debt right now. And that means we have to figure out how much money we're going to make as a country and being able to purchase, to pay off these guys that purchased our debt. So I'm telling you right now, I think that the financial indicators, in my opinion, are ripe, and I would strongly advise anybody to try to hoard, gather, purchase as much cryptocurrency as you can, because where are the investors going to put their money? You already saw, folks, we are so inflated. We have such a high Dow Jones Industrial that traditional institutional investment has been thrown out the toilet. We just saw an 800-point drop today. Traditionally, back in the old days, folks, if we would have saw an 800-point drop, they would pull the plug on the stock market. But because we're over 26,000 points on the Dow, that's why they didn't pull the plug. Moreover, I want to remind everybody that we are due for a contraction. Why? Because we have been so over-speculated in the stock market. This goes back to the Obama days, folks. Remember, what happened right when Obama came into power? He bailed out everybody because he blamed the recession for it. He bailed out the Wall Street banksters. He bailed out all the financial institutions. He bailed them all out. Now, like every leftist, the government wanted something in return for bailing out these financial institutions. And what the Obama administration wanted is they wanted the financial institutions to prop up the stock market, because at the time, remember, folks, I was in True Capitalist Radio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 days, episode number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. During that time, the goddamn Dow Jones Industrial was at like 7,800 points. 8,000 points. And what they wanted to do, or what the Obama administration wanted Wall Street to do, was to prop up the goddamn stock market to be about 12 to 15,000 points. And the reason is, folks, is because the economy, you all lived during the Obama economy, folks, it fucking sucked. Excuse my French, it sucked. All right? And why did it suck? Well, because, first of all, during Obama, we added $10 trillion to our national debt. Just during Obama's tenure. $10 trillion. Now, where did all that money go? It went right into the goddamn banksters and the Wall Street guys. He bailed out everybody. And remember, the government isn't going to bail you out unless you do something for the government. So they propped up the market. I've been saying this throughout the whole years of True Capitalist Radio. I said that, look, this goddamn market is not filled with independent individual investors anymore. That the stock market was nothing more than these managers of large sums of money, like retirement fund managers and, mutual fund managers, hedge fund managers. I mean, that's literally what was running the market during the Obama administration, and that's why it was so easy to prop up the market. And why did they want to prop up the market? Why did they want the market to be 15,000, 16,000 Dow Jones Industrial during the Obama administration? Because the Obama, politically, even though everybody was on food stamps, everybody was collecting welfare, there was no economic opportunity, Obamacare literally eliminated the concept of overtime or full-time work anymore. But Obama and his administration could point to that Wall Street barometer of the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ and the S&P and say, hey, look, all right, look at Wall Street. You see, this is the great economy. All right, this is the Obama economy. This is great. You see that? And that's what the Obama administration was all about. It was a propped up goddamn stock market. All right? There was no justification for propping it up, folks. I said that throughout the whole goddamn time I was broadcasting. I said there was no justification for the increases in the stock market because what were they basing this on? I mean, literally every corporation was gutted just to maintain the paperwork to make it appear as if they had better than expected earnings on a quarterly basis. I said this throughout the whole goddamn Obama administration, that there was no justification for this inflated market. And then I said, right as the election was happening in 2016, to beware. Because if Hillary Clinton or fucking Bernie Sanders was to win the presidency, you could kiss whatever the hell that was, which I think the Dow at that point was about 17,000. You could kiss all that goodbye. I mean, we would have been gone down to about 9,000, 8,000 Dow Jones Industrial, and everybody would be worth jack shit. And I said that if Donald Trump was elected, this man, being a businessman, would know the economic foundations to create not only a good stock market, but a good economy where we bring back manufacturing again. You know, where we increase the wages. You know, when we're adding jobs to the economy, for Christ's sake. I mean, do y'all remember the Obama administration? We had no GDP growth, for Christ's sake. None. No GDP growth. Here, folks, we're almost hitting 5% GDP. I mean, this is unheard of. I mean, no one would have ever have believed Trump if he would have suggested this in his 2016 campaign. And I'm telling you this right now, folks, that once Trump was elected after the Obama administration, do you remember at the beginning, the Wall Street started to sell off? If you take a look at the chart of any Dow or the NASDAQ, right as Trump was elected, it started to kind of go down a little bit. But then Trump knew right away to talk to his people within his social circles, within his business circles, to encourage them to bring investment into the United States. And once Wall Street started seeing that, before the stock market had a time to contract from the inflatedness of the Obama administration, all Wall Street saw was good news. And that's what I kept saying. That's why I was so bullish once they passed the tax cut, that 2018 was going to be a very bullish year for the Dow Jones Industrial. I said that specifically, and I told people to watch out for tech. Watch out for tech. And folks, take a look at what's happening. I said that in the fourth quarter, you better watch out, and that's where we're at right now. We're in the fourth quarter of business in 2018 fiscal year, and now we're starting to see that some of the things that I suggested that could halt this blustering and booming economy that we have were the problems that are now coming about. So once again, I want everybody to keep that in mind, that if we have a dramatic decrease in the stock market, it's because it had been overinflated on top of an overinflated market. If you want my opinion, I think that the true value of the stock market right now, the true absolute book value, is now somewhere in the range of possibly 13 to 15,000. But obviously, it shouldn't go back down to that rate unless people are getting a little bit antsy, unless they realize what's going on. Look, I'm telling you, your average investor right now, especially somebody who's got their 401k, especially somebody who's got personal investments in the Dow, they're not looking at this 800-point decrease and saying, it'll wear off. No, these types of sell-offs makes them want to sell off. All right, so let's keep our eye on the stock market. Let's keep our eye on the treasuries. Let's keep our eye on the bond yields of those treasuries, and let's keep our eye on the Fed. Either way, if it's bad news for the stock market, folks, it's good news for crypto. It's good news for crypto because where are investors going to be able to hold some of their wealth? They're going to put it all in gold and silver again? No. There's an opportunity here in cryptocurrency to not only make capital for holding your money here, but it's currency. They can spend it. I mean, people are buying houses now with Bitcoin and Ethereum and shit, man. I'm not even joking. I mean, this is where crypto is going to shine, folks. I'm not just saying this. It is ripe. It is ripe right now for a major increase. So I strongly advise anybody, whatever your cryptocurrency, your favorite cryptocurrency is, I would get it, buy it, hoard it now, because I think that right now is the time before these damn things start taking off based on the economic conditions I just mentioned here in the past 30 minutes. And I didn't mean to be so long-winded about it, but I hope everybody understands where I'm coming from and why I'm postulating this, okay? Anyway, with that being said, let's get to the cryptocurrency markets right now, okay? We are seeing somewhat of a contraction, folks, but I think it's going to be temporary. All right, I think it's temporary right now. Current market capitalization for the entire cryptocurrency market is $217 billion market capitalization. Let's go ahead and get to some cryptocurrencies, folks, okay? Now, once again, there's a lot of media hype in the mainstream business media, and I would strongly advise people that are crypto investors to not just be looking in the underground of the internet cryptocurrency media world. I would also be paying very close attention to the mainstream media, because the mainstream media will give you an indicator of what the hell's going to happen, because they have the major influence, folks. And to be honest with you, I've said this many times. It's been said that barely 2% of institutional stock bond investors are invested in cryptocurrency. Just barely 2%. So just imagine all that volume, all that money that could be coming to the cryptocurrency's way, because, I mean, where are these investors going to hold their wealth? I mean, where are they going to hold these major gains? Are they going to hold it in United States dollars? Well, they could be losing money if these bond yields continue to go up, and if the interest rates keep going up, and it messes up the economy, etc. You can't put it in European dollars. I mean, the European economies are floundering around. Where are you going to put it? You can't put it anywhere. You got to put it in cryptocurrency, folks. I'm telling you, man, right now, please heed the call. All right? Please heed the call. It is October 10th, 2018. Remember the day. I'm telling you right now, it is ripe for cryptocurrency to go up, up, and up. I mean, I think this is a great time to buy. It's been a great time to buy. Let's just put it that way. But keep your eyes peeled, baby. Let's go ahead and cover some cryptos here. Let's go ahead and get to Bitcoin. BTC is the symbol. Market capitalization is $114 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 17.3 million in circulation for Bitcoin. In the past 24 hours, we have seen a contraction a little bit in Bitcoin. It is down 0.71%. Current price for Bitcoin is $6,588.48 per Bitcoin. Let's get to Ethereum. Now, I don't know about Ethereum. You've got a lot of mixed views on Ethereum. I personally think that it's bug-ridden, and I don't think that the technology is there to justify the former price that it was, what was it, $1,000 to almost $1,100 in its heyday. Now, then again, if you take a look at some of CNBC's people, and you take a look at some of their goddamn so-called crypto experts, some of these people, and you can read this for yourself, they're calling right now the current price of ETH a bottom. I mean, how in the hell are you gathering that this is a bottom, man? I would not suggest that. I mean, like I said, folks, cryptocurrency, the value, the technology. All right? The second most valuable aspect of cryptocurrency is the acceptance. Is it accepted, and by how many people is it accepted? Is it accepted by a country, countries? Is it accepted by financial institutions, etc.? And third, and I think it's a very, very important component, watch the circulating supply. All right? I mean, some of these circulating supplies on some of these coins that are getting into the tens of billions, I don't think that people should anticipate the kind of growth that one saw on, let's say, Bitcoin, whose circulating supply right now, which is what I just said, 17.3, you've got to realize that the reason Bitcoin went as high as it did was because of the circulation. All right? I mean, you're not going to see that in these damn cryptocurrencies that got tens of billions out in circulation. You understand? So that's another factor. Anyway, let me get to Ethereum here. $23 billion market capitalization for Ethereum. Circulating supply is 102 million. 102 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, it has also gone down in this minor contraction. It is down 0.92%. Current price for Ethereum, $225.49 per Ethereum. Let's look at XRP, Ripple. Now, once again, I don't like Ripple. I think it's a centralized piece of digital crap. But because it has partnerships within major financial institutions worldwide, 3 of them specifically right now, and it's gaining more, this is what makes this a little bit valuable, especially at these prices, folks. I mean, now that we're seeing a contraction in the market, even these prices are looking very nice. Like I said, take a look at, I think that Ripple's good for the next 6 months. I mean, remember, we saw it go as high as $3. So $3 is the high, all-time high from what I understand. And right now, it is a good time to buy, considering all the news that's coming out on this damn thing. I mean, take a look at the mainstream business media. They can't stop talking about fucking Ripple. Why? I have no idea. You even had Bill Clinton talking about Ripple, for Christ's sake, recently. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Slick Willie, and I just want you to know whenever I buy a prostitute, I make sure to use Ripple, and I can go ahead and lick on her buttery nipple. I mean, seriously, man, you got goddamn Bill Clinton talking about Ripple out here. Anyway, XRP is the symbol for Ripple. Market capitalization is $18.4 billion market cap. The circulating supply is 40 billion in circulation. Keep that in mind. 40 billion in circulation. In the past 24 hours, it has gone down. 3.57% decrease. Current price for XRP Ripple is 46 cents. 46 cents for Ripple. Let's get to Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash, symbol BCH. Market capitalization is 8.9 billion, 8.9 billion with a B. The circulating supply for Bitcoin Cash is 17.3 million. In the past 24 hours, Bitcoin Cash has gone down 0.93%. Current price for Bitcoin Cash is $511.89 per Bitcoin Cash. Let's get to Litecoin, folks. I keep covering Litecoin because, you know, it still could be a competitor as an alternative to fiat. It needs partnerships, but if Charlie Lee would stop flapping his goddamn egg roll fingers on the keyboard, I mean, and stop tweeting. Anyway, let's get to Litecoin. LTC is the symbol. Market capitalization is $3.3 billion market cap for Litecoin. Circulating supply is 58 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Litecoin has gone down 1.16% decrease. Current price for Litecoin is $57.92 per Litecoin. Let's continue on to Monero, folks. XMR is the symbol for Monero. I like Monero because it runs, baby. It runs. It's a short-term pattern trading play. And once again, it is widely accepted in the deep web, which obviously calls for some kind of a demand, right? It's being accepted in some kind of a market, so that's something to keep in mind. Monero, current market cap is $1.8 billion market capitalization. The circulating supply is 16.4 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Monero has gone up 0.16%. Current price for Monero is $113.58 per Monero. Let's get to Dash, folks. It's on the decrease today on this minor contraction. Dash, D-A-S-H, is the symbol. And before we get to Dash, I do want to remind everybody there's still mining contracts at genesis-mining.com. I would strongly advise people just to entertain it. I'm just saying, man. All right? Get daily deposits in your digital wallet every day for 2 years. They've got Bitcoin mining contracts for 5 years, for Christ's sake. So in my personal opinion, why get into all the hardware? Why get into all the, how many graphics cards do I need? Is it going to overheat? Am I going to mess it up? Just go ahead and lease out the hardware to the professionals that know how to do it. Go to my Gab account right now if you need a link to genesis-mining.com. I would strongly advise everybody to entertain a contract from Genesis-Mining. I'm a customer. Most of the Inner Circle are customers. Many people in the True Capitalist Radio chat room are customers. And if you're going to entertain a mining contract at Genesis-mining, to Genesis-mining.com, then make sure to use the discount code, baby. Come on, you got to use the discount code. And the discount code for Genesis-mining.com is WEA296. Once again, the discount code for Genesis-mining.com is WEA296. I'm just trying to help people out, man. I'm just trying to plant capitalist seed. That's all I'm doing. Anyway, let's get to Dash, folks. Okay, Dash right now is at $1.4 billion market cap. Why do I like Dash, folks? Fast transaction, low transaction fee, and it's a low circulation, baby. Take a look at it. Circulating supply for Dash, 8.3 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Dash has gone down 1.23%. Current price for Dash is $178.16 per Dash. Let's continue going, folks. Who else do we got? We got Ethereum Classic. Once again, Ethereum Classic starting to look as a possible alternative to Ethereum. A lot of different factors on that. It has been accepted on Coinbase, so, there's some major volume, major trading going on with Ethereum Classic. Symbol ETC. ETC is the symbol. Market capitalization is $1.1 billion market capitalization for Ethereum Classic. The circulating supply for ETC is 105 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we have seen Ethereum Classic go down 0.72%. Current price for Ethereum Classic is $10.81 per Ethereum Classic. Let's get to Zcash. Once again, one of my favorites. Not to mention it's got some institutional investment from JP Morgan. It's got the privacy component, low circulation, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at Zcash. What's the symbol? ZEC. ZEC is the symbol. Market capitalization is $617 million market cap. Once again, the low circulating supply of Zcash is 4.9 million in circulation. That's it. In the past 24 hours, Zcash has gone down 1.89% decrease. Current price for Zcash, $123.78 per Zcash. Let's continue going on, folks. What did I tell you all about 0x last week? I said, take a look at this. If you would have taken a look at this, you'd have been up a lot on your money, I'll tell you that. But right now, it's on a slight decrease, but let's take a look at it. Once again, the symbol for 0x is ZRX. ZRX is the symbol. Market capitalization is $407 million market cap. Circulating supply is 541 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, ZRX has gone down modestly. It is down 0.49%. The current price for 0x, symbol ZRX, 75 cents. 75 cents for ZRX. Let's continue going on, folks. We've been seeing some movement on QTUM today. Quantum, I think this may be the calm before the storm, folks. We saw it go as high at about 410, 411 today. It is now coming back down with a contraction, but it's still on the plus side. Let's take a look at QTUM. Quantum, QTUM is the symbol. Market capitalization is $351 million market cap. Circulating supply is 88 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we have seen Quantum QTUM go up 2.74% increase. Current price for Quantum, $3.95 per QTUM. All right, like I said, I mean, that's one of my biggest holdings there, baby. That's one of my biggest holdings. Now that I'm looking at the time, I guess I didn't realize that the time was going by so fast. Let's go ahead and get to one of my other biggest holdings, and I'm talking about 42 Coin, baby. That's right, 42 Coin. Let's take a look at it. Market capitalization for 42 Coin is $1.1 million market cap. The circulating supply for 42 Coin is 42 coins. All right, in the past 24 hours, once again, what did I tell you about 42 Coin? All right, long-term investment, a hedge against market contractions, and you could possibly make some money, pattern or swing trading this thing. But take a look right now, during a market contraction, take a look at 42 Coin. It is up 16.91%. Current price for 42 Coin, $26,400. That's right, per 42 Coin. And that concludes the cryptocurrency portion of the financial aspect of the broadcast here. Let's go ahead and go into stocks, because I'm sure everybody is asking what the hell's going on. If you did not hear me earlier or missed it, please go back and check out what I discussed about the bond yields. I went into very complex detail about how our bond, or at least the 2-year bond yields, are as high as 2008 levels. So that is spooking the market. And like I said, folks, the reason why this is spooking the market is because that is our debt. When the United States sells bonds, we need foreign investors or countries to purchase that debt so that we can continue to spend the money that the government spends. But right now, folks, as I stated in the beginning of the broadcast, we have an America First economic policy, and we're renegotiating our trade deals, which we should have done a long time ago, and countries are getting a little pissed off about it. They're getting a little pissed off about it, so aside from them not wanting to purchase our bonds, forcing the United States Treasury to up the bond yields, aside from that, they're also selling bonds on a massive scale, which is also causing the bond yield to go even higher. So that right there, amidst also, folks, the trade tensions with China, which is majorly affecting the tech sector, supposedly, all these factors are a reason why you're seeing a major contraction in the stock market. And as I stated, I was bullish on this Dow Jones Industrial, as I stated in 2017. I said I was bullish throughout 2018 until the fourth quarter, and right now we are in the fourth quarter, folks. Now, as I stated earlier in the broadcast, I believe that right now our debt, the United States national deficit, is starting to become a issue of national security. And just looking at what happened today in the stock market shows what other countries could do to us in an economic warfare capacity just by merely not showing up to the bond auctions to purchase our debt or selling off their bonds, which is what China's doing and other countries who hold massive portions of our debt are doing to offset what we're doing. So we are seeing trade tensions happen between the United States and China, and that's another reason why you got a lot of investors leaving, trying to get their money out now. They think this is the top, and they're trying to cash out, take their money, and run. So we saw a major decrease. I mean, traditionally, back in the old days, folks, if we went down 800 points like we saw here today, they would have pulled the plug on the market, folks. It just goes to show you how inflated our market is. And look, I think that some of it's justified because even though we did not see a contraction after the Obama administration, which we should have, what's caused this major overspeculation in the Dow is good news. I mean, you as an investor, you could not invest in the stock market because you had low unemployment. I mean, GDP explosion of growth. You've got manufacturing coming back in America, the natural rising of wages across the board. There's a lot of good things here. So that's why you saw the Dow Jones Industrial go from 17, 18 to 25 goddamn thousand, man. 26,000. Now, with that being said, there's going to be a major market correction, and because we have seen 26, almost pushing 27,000 Dow Jones Industrial, you know that there's going to be a correction at around 30%, possibly more, because a lot of the money that's in the stock market is over speculation. So, you might have a lot of scared money in this market, and it may be even more than that. But just keep your eyes peeled to the market, and the whole reason why you have a sell-off, once again, the trade tensions that the United States has with China and these increasing bond yields. I mean, even if you know nothing about bonds, folks, once you hear that the two-year bond, the yields for those 2-year bonds are at 2008 levels, all you got to remember is that, oh man, 2008, that was the beginning of the Great Recession. That's not a good indicator, hence today's market, okay? Let's take a look at it. Dow Jones Industrial is down 831.83 points. I mean, good God! A percentage decrease, folks, of 3.15% on the day, closing out the Dow Jones Industrial at 25,598.74 points for the Dow Jones Industrial. Let's take a look at the S&P. It was no better. S&P was down 94.66 points, a percentage decrease of 3.29%, closing out the S&P at 2,785.68 points for the S&P 500. We've got the NASDAQ. It took it on the teeth today, baby. And that's why tech, that's another thing that is kind of making the market a little funny in the pants and wanting to sell off. Tech is not doing worth a crap. Did you all see the sell-off on Snapchat? What have I always told you all about Snapchat? I've been shit-talking Snapchat ever since its initial public offering. And that's what I'm telling you, man. These tech stocks are a joke. I mean, how in the hell was Snapchat going to sustain constant economic growth with its ridiculous fucking model of business? What is its model of business? I don't even Snapchat, for Christ's sake. What is it? Selling picture filters to a bunch of losers that look at themselves on their fucking phones? I mean, I don't get it, and hence, this is why you're seeing such a dramatic decrease in tech stocks. I know they're blaming China and all this other crap. They suck, all right? I'm not impressed with technology. Let's just put it that way, all right? The NASDAQ is down 315.96 points, a percentage decrease of 4.08% decrease on the day, closing out the NASDAQ at 7,422.05 points for the NASDAQ composite. Good God. Good God. What a day. What a day on the market. Let's continue on, folks. Let's go to commodities. Energy, let's take a look at what's going on there. Crude is down today. WTI sweet crude down 60 cents, a percentage decrease of 0.82%. Current price of WTI sweet crude is $72.57 per barrel of WTI sweet crude. We've got Brent crude also down today, folks. It is down 63 cents, a percentage decrease of 0.76%. Current price for Brent crude is $82.46 per barrel of Brent crude oil. We've got gasoline, folks. It is also down 1.18%. Natural gas is down 0.49%, and heating oil is down, but wait for that Arctic front, folks. That's what I'm telling you. Wait for that Arctic front. Heating oil is down 0.51% decrease on the day. Let's get to the metals, shall we? The metals! Let's get to the goddamn metals! Let's go ahead and get to gold, folks. Now, of course, you saw a little bit of decrease, a lot of decrease in the markets, a lot of decrease in commodities. What's going on in gold? Well, gold is up, folks. It is up $3.90, a percentage increase of 0.33%, closing out gold at $1,197.30 per troy ounce of gold. We've got silver up today, 1 penny, a percentage increase of 0.06%, closing out silver at $14.34 per troy ounce of silver. We've got copper down today 0.99%, and we've got platinum down 0.12%. Let's go ahead and get to agriculture, the grains, corn. Corn saw a dramatic increase yesterday. Unfortunately, the president had to pander to the heartland. I don't know if you saw his rally. We're going to talk about it in Iowa and Nebraska. He had to, once again, I've always been a critic of ethanol and why we're even using it to begin with. We're burning our own food. But these farmers out there in Iowa and Nebraska, which is the heartland, and lest we forget that Iowa is the first primary spot, all right, or the caucus primary spot for every presidential election. So I think the president was just feeding some meat to the wolves when it comes to increasing this ethanol. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, you saw an increase in corn. For whatever reason, it's down today. Corn is down 0.21%. Wheat is down 0.05%. We got oats down 0.62%. Rough rice is down 0.18%. Soybean is down 0.06%. Soybean oil is down 0.10%. And canola is up. Canola is up 0.24%. Let's go ahead and get to the soft, shall we? Cocoa, it is down today after seeing dramatic increases for the past couple of weeks. It is down 1.46%. Coffee is down 1.10%. Sugar is down also 0.93%. Orange juice is up, folks, 0.91%. Cotton is down 0.27%. Lumber is down. You're going to see it continue to go down. I mean, who's going to want to get a goddamn house if you got good credit at interest rate at 5 or 6%? Give me a break. All right, lumber is down 2.81%. But watch for lumber, because we're going to have to rebuild after this Hurricane Michael, and hopefully every capitalist that's being hit right now is bunkering down or got the hell out of there. My thoughts and prayers are going out to those folks being hit by Hurricane Michael, but you know there's going to be an increase in lumber because they're going to have to rebuild. I'm just saying, this is how you got to think, when you want to make a little money, it's how you got to think, man. Anyway, rubber is down 2.03%. We've got ethanol down 0.76%. Let's go ahead and get to the livestock, shall we? We've got live cattle. It is down 0.58%. Cattle feeder, it is down 0.84%. And thank God we're seeing some decrease in the lean hogs, man. I mean, it was going up 3-4% on a daily basis there for a minute. And let me tell you something, man. I mean, Thanksgiving's coming around, and I want to get a decent goddamn ham bone, man. I want to get a pork butt going on, and I'm glad it's going down. Anyway, lean hog is down 1.10% decrease on the day, folks. And that, my friends, is the markets for your ass. All right, thank you very much for listening to the market component of the broadcast. Let me go ahead and get a sip of soda here, or sip of cola, I should say. I gotta have a soft drink. I gotta have some kind of a soft drink. Come on now. Anyway, we are now in the second hour of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, and of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you are listening to the political underground, and I implore you, I beg you, to spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internet and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas U.S. time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And I love saying this over and over and over again. I love being independent now. Type this in your browser, add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites. The following, ghost.report. All right? It's as simple as that. That's all you got to type in your browser right now, ghost.report. And aside from that being the home of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, baby, we're releasing all kinds of articles on there, and it's making the rounds on the internet, baby. So bookmark ghost.report, because coming soon, we're dropping more and more dirt on these Democrats to show them that they are not only filthy, corrupt, and criminalistic, but they are complete contradictory hypocrites. And that's what it's going to show. So whether you listen to the broadcast or like the articles, bookmark it and spread it around like wildfire, baby. All right? Spread it around like wildfire. Anyway, I want to say what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room. What's going on, baby? As a matter of fact, I think Discord is acting up. People are telling me that. So my apologies if you're having something screwy going on with the Discord app. It's obviously in the server direction. I don't know what the hell's going on there. All right, but either way, I'm glad that I do see people in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on, baby? Let's go ahead and give some shout-outs to some True Capitalist Radio chat room peeps. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and see who we got. We got the Pet Mexican in the house, the God of Rage, Stagio, Pepe the Frog, Metaform, Holden Capitalist, what up, man? Herb Capitalist, Hans Uberlander, Hambone Capitalist, what up, man? We got Funky Butt Lovin', Extinction for Globalists. We got Distillin', Billy Cossack, Aquilian, Aesthetic. What's going on, man? How's everybody doing in there? And if I didn't mention your name, it's probably because you're having trouble connecting to the Discord chat, and I'm sorry about that. It ain't my fault. It's Discord. But if you want to be a part of the Discord chat room, well, come on down. All you've got to do is go to my Gab account right now. And if you don't have yourself a free Gab account, well, then get yourself one, all right? Get yourself one and follow me under the name Politics Ghost. All right? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow on Gab. It is a hell of a lot better than Twitter's censorship poshole of an ass. All right? And once you're following me on Gab under Politics Ghost, then click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, go ahead and private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will private message you back with a personal and private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room. It's that damn simple, all right? And once again, I want to thank all those that are throwing something into the cryptocurrency wishing well. If you do appreciate the content and want to sustain the continuity of the content that you are listening to, then go to ghost.report, click the cryptocurrency wishing well tab, and throw something in the wishing well, baby. I'm telling you, we're that dangerous of a broadcast that they're trying to ban us on every platform, every transaction company, everywhere, because, oh my God, it's True Capitalist Radio. It's so scary. It's such a dangerous underground political broadcast, and it must be stopped. So if you do appreciate the content, by all means, hook it up, man. I appreciate it. Go to ghost.report, click the cryptocurrency wishing well, throw some cryptocurrency in there, and all of your dreams will come true, on top of the fact you'll be helping the True Capitalist Radio broadcast as well. So thank all you folks. And hey, I got production notes coming to those that hooked it up, man. And you know who you are. So I've been up to my fucking ears in work, okay? I just want to let y'all know that. Being a independent capitalist and a business owner of many businesses, it keeps you busy. And on top of that, I got to do this broadcast. So, you know, I don't have time to blow a fart, for Christ's sake. Anyway, let's continue going on with the broadcast because we have a lot to talk about here. Now, yesterday the president had a rally, and today he's having one. I think he's having one as we speak. But in yesterday's one, I'm going to have to view today's one on a rerun broadcast. He was touting, I'm talking Trump, the major achievements during his presidency. The major achievements. I mean, not just domestically, in which he lowers taxes. He made one of the greatest economies in our history. He has literally packed the court with conservative constitutional judges in Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. This man is literally on top of the world. Take a look at what he's doing with the peace and diplomacy that he's having with North Korea. There's a lot of things that this man has to celebrate. And like I said, it's just been 2 years, baby. It's just been 2 years. And I honestly believe that he would have gotten 100% more done, if not more, had he had a full Republican majority, and that's what he's emphasizing in each and every one of these rallies that he's holding. And I have to hand it to him, man. He is conjuring up the spirit of 2016 again, and I hope that he is sparking synapses in your brains and forcing you all to go out there and vote Republican, because I'm telling you right now, folks, the left is completely lunatic. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. All right? And I like how in every rally the president is calling out the Democrats as the party of crime and evil, because that's exactly what they are. And as I stated, folks, what do Democrats stand for in today's modern America? What do they stand for? They stand for open borders. They stand for protecting illegal aliens, illegal immigrants. They think that illegal immigrants supersede the importance of regular, everyday American citizens. That's why you've got the Democrats focusing more attention on immigrants than they do the black people poor in this fucking country, the Mexican people poor in this country. I'm talking about American blacks, American Mexicans, American Asians, American white trash. They're not focusing on them. Instead, they're worried about illegal immigrants and their children. I mean, and that should piss off anybody who is in poverty right now. But the bad part about being in poverty is that you're too worried about feeding yourself that you don't have time or the understanding to interpret the reality that's going on around you. And the reality is, folks, if you're impoverished, you should be voting right now Republican, because Republican is Trump's party, baby. We've taken control of the entire party. And that's why we've gotten so much done. That's why you have this anti-globalist America First policy that should be championed by everybody, regardless of what party you belong to. And that's why I challenge everybody. Why do you hate Trump? Just because some talking head faggot on the goddamn boob tube told you to? Look at what he's done for the country. We have not had a more pro-American president in our lifetimes. He has literally taken his own life in his hands, his family. He's putting his family on the line, his businesses, just so that we, the American people, can have control of our government again. So we can be politically aware. Why do you think he does all these goddamn rallies, man? He does all these rallies, folks, because he's trying to get it in the psyche, the American psyche, that if we don't become not only just politically aware, but politically active, these goddamn leftists are going to take power. And take a look at how fucking crazy these leftists are, folks. Is this what you want to take power? Is this what you want? To take control of our United States government, folks? A goddamn Democrat party that cares more about illegal immigrants than American law-abiding citizens? That cares more about criminals and their rights? That cares more about people who sexualize children? That's a constant, isn't it, when it comes to these Democrats, huh? Sexualizing children. I'm telling you, all these damn broads during the Me Too Democrat movement were like, oh my God, I can't believe. I believe Blasey Ford. Oh my God, she's so believable. All this bullshit. And yet these same people that are out here trying to praise Christine Blasey Ford, some kookster, leftist, liberal professor we've got these same leftist women, these feminists, trying to tout that it's okay to sexualize children. Let me go ahead and repost this post I posted last week of Kamala Harris, a supposed front runner in the 2020 Democratic presidential race. Kamala Harris protected Catholic pedophiles in the San Francisco Archdiocese during her tenure as San Francisco's district attorney and California's attorney general. Okay? Right there. And I linked to the article in question by the San Francisco Weekly. Whoever the hell that guy was the only one with balls to write about it. And let me continue. Here's another so-called feminist. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and air this out for you folks, okay? Let me air this out for you before I post it. I already have it posted on my Gab right now, but I want people to listen to what this woman, and I'm talking about Whoopi Goldberg. You know, and the reason I bring up Whoopi Goldberg is because she has a platform in The View in which she and her ridiculous, half-witted, low IQ banter is actually used to fashion the mental capacities and the narratives of most women that view this ridiculous broadcast. As a matter of fact, it was The View and Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and all these other stupid, dumb, old sluts on here that were out here, oh, I can't believe Brett Kavanaugh. Oh, I can't believe it. I believe Christine Blasey Ford. And any woman that says she was sexually assaulted should be believed regardless. And all this shit. This was all being pushed on The View. And I want you to listen to Whoopi Goldberg. This was back in 2009 when she was trying to make a case against child rapist Roman Polanski. You know, Hollywood director Roman Polanski. He drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl. Well, I want you to listen to what Whoopi Goldberg says about Roman Polanski. Remember, this is the same woman that is using the venue of The View with a bunch of mindless broads watching. Use this as an opportunity to incept this idea that every woman that says or hollers sexual abuse should be believed. And yet, listen to Whoopi Goldberg when it pertains to Roman Polanski and him raping a 13-year-old girl. Listen to Whoopi Goldberg. Put it on, engineer.
Was not charged. I know it wasn't rape. Yeah, there is a statutory
child molest, maybe. I'm not sure
what something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape. And when we get all the information, somebody will tell me in my ear. All I'm trying to get you to understand is when we're talking about what someone did and what they were charged with, we have to say what it actually was, not what we think it was.
What he said he did. He gave her Quaaludes. He gave her champagne. She was drugged. She was 13 years old. He asked her, here's a transcript. But that's what I'm saying. You're 13 years old. She was still a child.
Initially he was charged with rape. Go ahead. And then he pled guilty to having sex with a minor. Okay? And he went to jail. And when they let him out,
45 days.
And when they let him out, he said, you know what, this guy's going to give me 100 years in jail, I'm not staying. And that's why he left. So that's why I wanted to be really clear, because I wanted to know exactly what we were talking about.
Did y'all hear that? Did you hear that? I hope that y'all heard that loud and clear. Whoopi Goldberg, some bull dyke, Black Lives Matter wannabe feminist over here, back in 2009, tried to minimize Roman Polanski's raping and drugging of a 13-year-old girl by claiming it wasn't, quote, rape. It wasn't rape, according to Whoopi Goldberg here. All right? And this is what I'm talking about, the utter hypocrisy that we witness. If you want to hear that and you want to see that video yourself, take a look at my Gab. I'm reposting all these things on my Gab right now. But that's Whoopi Goldberg, folks. And I'm glad, going back to the president and his rallies, man, I am glad that he is focusing on the utter evil that we are witnessing in the Democratic Party. This is evil. This is hypocrisy. This is outright deception. And when you have deception, folks, it's evil. I mean, this is horrible deception. Horrible. This dumb bitch, Whoopi Goldberg, is the same broad that's been on recently claiming that we should believe every woman that hollers sexual abuse. And yet here you have her, in her own words, downplaying a drugging and a raping of a 9-year-old because it wasn't, quote, rape. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. This is the left for you. This is what you are electing in 2008. I don't give a shit whether or not you think that you're...
that's not what I mean, Ghost. I'm not electing Democrats because of that.
No, that's the mainstream Democratic Party, you asshole. That's the mainstream Democrat Party. Anyway, let me move on, for Christ's sake. And by the way, in yesterday's rally, he had a rally in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Did you hear the chants of lock her up in reference to Dianne Feinstein? That's right, and she should be locked up. Not only because she potentially leaked the anonymous letter by Blasey Ford, not even because of that. It's because this woman had a Chinese spy as her office manager and her driver for, over a decade? And then when the FBI notified Dianne Feinstein that she had a Chinese spy as her office manager and her driver, instead of quickly firing him and terminating him and turning him into the FBI, she quietly allowed him to retire. Quietly allowed him to retire so that he could collect his taxpayer-funded pension. Huh? That's why you have chance of lock her up as it pertains to Dianne Feinstein. That's why. Not because, she leaked the Blasey Ford. Who gives a shit if she leaks the Blasey Ford? I mean, that's what these disgusting, despicable, soulless, cash whore politicians do. That's what they do. It's because she had a Chinese spy in her goddamn office, as her office manager, as her driver. Just imagine the type of intelligence that this Chinese spy got. That's why people in Iowa were chanting, lock her up, when it comes to Feinstein, because you had a lot of reports today come out trying to speculate why these people were hollering, lock her up, when it comes to Feinstein. She's a fucking treasonous piece of old bag trash. And why she's still in the Senate, why this woman is still walking the face of the earth, is beyond me. She should be in jail right now, and she should be on trial for fucking treason. And I don't understand, because her allowing this Chinese spy to quietly retire so he can continue to collect a pension funded by us is unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Anyway, let me move on from that, folks. Once again, I alluded to this earlier, but the president is preparing all departments and agencies for the aftermath of Hurricane Michael, and he's been planning for this for the past, I'd say, 5 to 6 days. His FEMA agency, his FEMA department has been advising everybody to get the hell out of the area of this particular hurricane. It's a Category 3. I think that once it hit land, it's a Category 2. It's going to be a big, hardcore deal, a lot of rebuilding, a lot of folks going to have property damaged. Hopefully, no lives, and if there are lives, limited lives lost. But once again, folks, my thoughts and prayers are for those that are out there that are being stricken by this natural disaster, Hurricane Michael. And I hope that there's limited amount of damage, no lives lost, and we can all just pick up and move on. But, we shall see. This looks like a pretty bad big hurricane. If you take a look at the radar coverage of it, it looked pretty massive. So once again, the president prepares all departments and agencies for the aftermath of Hurricane Michael, and I'm pretty sure you're going to have a pretty good federal response on this, to say the least. Anyway, let me move on to some major news here that was obviously the talk of the day yesterday. Now, did you all hear that the president, well, you'll see, I should say, did you all see that the president had a public send-off for the UN ambassador, Nikki Haley? Did y'all hear this? Now, everyone right now is questioning why Nikki Haley stepped down from the United Nations. I'm going to give you the reason. All right, and I have to say my opinion because I don't want to have any of my sources jeopardized because I know this information. But I'm going to give you an exact reason why this broad, this stupid dumb bimbo, which I've never liked from the beginning, Nikki Haley, she's always been anti-Trump. She's been anti-Trump even in the goddamn office that she's holding in this presidency. Now, Nikki Haley, folks, if you take a look at her background, she's a neocon. And if you take a look at her work in the United Nations, it was, in a lot of times, completely in contradiction of what the president was saying. Moreover, folks, I do want to keep in mind, okay, that the president had this public send-off. It was a major surprise to everybody. It was a surprise to Nikki Haley's aides. It was a surprise to everybody in the White House, so on and so forth. I mean, from what reports have said, Nikki Haley had reported that she wanted to leave this post of the UN ambassador, and she told the president October 2nd. Now, they kept that secret from October 2nd to yesterday, which was October 9th, and it never got leaked. Now, folks, don't you find that ironic that they were able to hold this supposed retirement from, or I should say, this resignation from Nikki Haley from the UN ambassadorship? Don't you find that ironic? That it was one of the best kept secrets within this very leaky administration? I don't find it funny at all, folks, because, and this is my opinion, I just got to say that for legal purposes, but Nikki Haley was one of the major leakers of this fucking White House. All right? She had always been anti-Trump. All right? She was a fucking neocon. Every time there was any fucking question about the president and what he said about women, this broad would always say something negative about the president. This fucking broad is a piece of trash neocon, and you know what? She got caught. She got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and she could have faced one of two things, okay? Because lest we forget, Nikki Haley has got political ambitions. Nikki Haley thinks she's going to run for president one day and be the first goddamn woman president. And you don't think that she was trying to position herself for that? Of course she was. Of course she was. And truth be told, in my opinion, Haley, if you want, and the only reason I have to say my opinion, folks, is I don't want to jeopardize people that I may or may not know within this circle of people, okay? But truth be told, this broad Nikki Haley was not only a White House leaker, she was also the author of that anonymous New York Times op-ed claiming that she was part of, quote, the resistance. That was her. That was her. And I'm telling you right now, what Trump and his people did, they confronted her and said, look, Haley, it can go one of two ways. Because, look, this is how the president is dealing with his enemies right now. He is now in a powerful position. I mean, what do you think he's doing to Rod Rosenstein? All right? Rod Rosenstein should be fucking put on trial right now. But he knows that he's got Rod Rosenstein by the balls, and he's probably, in my opinion, going to use Rod Rosenstein to bring down all the conspirators within this cabal of the DOJ and the FBI and prosecute him. And if he doesn't, he's going to go down for it. I mean, literally, the fall guy. They tried to make Rosenstein the fall guy, and now, you know, the president's got Rosenstein by the balls. That's why he took Rosenstein to his speech in front of the Association of Police Chiefs. What was it, on Monday? Excuse me. That's why Rosenstein was there. And that's why he even made a comment about Rosenstein being there, and he smiled about it. I mean, this man has got these people by the balls. Now, what happened, folks, is that the president found Nikki Haley and more than conclusive evidence that she was not only a leaker, but also the author of this op-ed New York Times piece. And they probably sat her down and said, look, Nikki Haley, do you want to go down in disgrace? Do you want to, be the one who is arrested and do the perp walk and go down as a complete disgrace? Or we come out and you say that you're going to resign from the United Nations ambassador seat and you're going to say nothing but good things and sweet nothings about Trump, and you're going to say that you had nothing but the greatest time working under Trump, and how Trump is the greatest boss, and all the shit that we heard during this fucking press conference. This was a fucking showpiece for the media, okay? I mean, I've never seen such a thing in my life. But you know what? It was all Nikki Haley talking. All Nikki Haley, like, I had a great time, and I love serving the president, and, I've just had a lot of time. I mean, it's overwhelming, and I want to have some time for myself. And what did she say at the end of all that ridiculous rhetoric? She said, just if y'all are going to ask, I'm not running for 2020, so don't ask. Are you kidding me? I'm sure that's over her head. I'm sure she had to say all that. The president will throw her in jail, because that's what is going to happen to these leakers. She had always been anti-Trump. She thought she was so fucking slick. She got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and that's why she, quote, resigned. Give me a fucking break, she resigned. I told the president on October 2nd. She told him October 2nd. They didn't announce it till October 9th, and it never leaked. That proves within itself that she was the leaker. You understand? That's why Trump made sure to highlight that as a fact. That she even said in that announcement that I told him October 2nd, and that's why all the media is shocked. Every fucking media outlet is like, I can't believe they were able to hold that secret, considering that this is such a leaky administration. It's because she was the goddamn leaker. She is the author of the New York Times op-ed piece. She got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and she was given a choice. The perp walk, or do what she did and making herself humble in front of Donald Trump and renouncing any kind of inkling of running for goddamn president in 2020. That's what happened to Nikki fucking Haley, all right? I'm tired of hearing that, Nikki Haley was such a great this and such a great that. She was a backstabbing bitch. She was a backstabbing bitch. She was literally tried to utilize her position in the United Nations to push the administration to do certain things. I mean, lest we forget, these Syrian strikes. She was the one that was out there in the United Nations warning Syria about these chemical weapons that are a bunch of bullshit. She was the one that was obligating goddamn the United States for these fucking strikes in Syria. She was doing all this shit, man. And on top of that, she was constantly talking shit about the president as she was the United Nations ambassador. She thought she was so fucking slick. Well, she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and now I hope that bitch goes back to the fucking Carolinas and goes and raises her children and gets the fuck out of goddamn politics. I'm sick and tired of her. I've read right through Nikki Haley, for Christ's sake, but you know what Trump is? Trump's not stupid, man. Trump is not stupid. Trump, he's a self-made billionaire. And the only way to be self-made is to be self-calculated. And much like the mob, that mentality, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And if you've got your enemies close to you, you can make moves like this. And she's the leaker. I mean, folks, that is a plain signal to everybody. The fact that she supposedly told the president October 2nd, they announced it October 9th, and there was no leak. Nobody knew about it, not even Pompeo. Nobody knew about anything. That is a signal to the world that this fucking stupid, dumb fucking Carolina cunt was not only the leaker, but the author of this New York Times op-ed article. And that's why she had to come out publicly and say, I'm not running for president for 2020. I'm not going to do it. That's why I keep telling you, man. I mean, you know, this woman thought she was so slick. She thought that she was going to be able to usurp the presidency. She thought that she was going to be able to do the things that she's done, and she got her hand caught in the cookie jar, and that's why she had to have a little humble pie. And she's lucky she's not arrested, if you want my opinion. She's lucky she's not in jail, because I think she should be. All right, truth be told, she was the leaker, and she was the goddamn op-ed fucking writer of that New York Times piece, man. That's why she's out. That's why she's out. So anyway, just remember, you heard it here first once again on True Capitalist Radio, baby. All right? I mean, this is the straight political dope. They don't call this broadcast the straight political dope for nothing. All right? This is serious business here. Now, let me go ahead and take a sip of some high-quality H2O, and let's continue on with the straight political dope, shall we? Man, I wish that was a beer. Anyway, let me move on, folks, okay? Because I want to talk about some other serious issues on top of Nikki Haley being outed within the internal circle of the Trump administration as the fucking leaker and the author of the New York Times op-ed piece. And, you know, she should be so grateful that the Trump administration allowed her to leave in the fashion that she did. She should be so lucky, you stupid, dumb Carolina fucking dog-farting fetish broad. I don't know if she's got a dog farting fetish. That's the first thing that came to mind. I looked at her face. People are posting pictures of her, and just like, you know, dog came to my head. Anyway, folks, let me move on, all right? Let's talk a little bit about China a little bit. And the reason I want to talk about China so early in the broadcast is because the United States have charged a Chinese spy who sought to steal trade secrets from American aviation and aerospace companies. Now, this is very, very interesting because this is the first time that an actual spy has been not only charged, but this guy was extradited. They caught this son of a bitch trying to go back to China. They caught him en route in Belgium, snagged his ass in Belgium, and brought him back to the United States. Now, I want to be honest with you, folks. I personally believe that the detainment of the Interpol head here recently in China, you know, the guy that was the head of Interpol that was now found arrested in China, I think this has a lot to do with it, folks, because lest we forget, we would have not been able to find this guy if Interpol, who is the world police, who has access to be able to kind of, you know, go from country to country and investigate. They've got Interpol people all over the world. I think Interpol aided in this regard. And because of that, that's why you have this head of Interpol that went on a trip to China become arrested, you know? That's what I'm saying. Now, regardless of that, I was just using that as a footnote, but the U.S. charged and extradited, and we got him in Belgium and brought him back to the United States. Now, this is not your ordinary Chinese spy, folks. This is the deputy chief minister of the state security of the communist government in China. This man, Yang Zhengzhu. He was the deputy minister of the Chinese Ministry of State Security. And by him being arrested by the United States and extradited, it exposes the Chinese government's direct oversight of economic espionage against the United States. This is what Trump had always been talking about China. China not playing by the rules when it comes to these trade agreements. China ripping stuff off and making it their own. Let me tell you something, folks. China has been literally stealing military and nuclear secrets from us ever since Bill Clinton. And I've talked about this many times, and I keep repeating this because I want this to stick in people's heads. It was Bill Clinton who allowed the Chinese to become nuclear and to become stealth technology in aviation. Now, how did he do that, folks? He allowed, I'm talking about Bill Clinton allowed a Chinese spy to be in the Los Alamos nuclear facility in which the United States does its nuclear testing and all this other shit. If you don't believe me, just Google Bill Clinton, Los Alamos nuclear, and you'll find it. You'll find it. It was from 1998, 1999, some shit like that. I mean, aside from that, folks, they've allowed a bunch of different Chinese agents to gank a bunch of technology from the United States. Why? Because take a look who funded Bill Clinton's campaign. A lot of Chinese. And I said this many times before. I mean, this idiot Bill Clinton was such a sellout to the Chinese, he rented out the Lincoln bedroom inside the White House to China so he can raise money for himself. If you don't believe me, Google up China, Lincoln bedroom, Bill Clinton, and you'll see what the fuck I'm talking about. This goes back all the way to then. As a matter of fact, I just talked about how Dianne Feinstein had a goddamn Chinese spy as her office manager or driver. Folks, the whole entire Democrat Party is literally a sellout to China and Russia. And because we're charging this Chinese spy, who's not only a spy, this guy is he's the deputy chief of the Ministry of the State Security in the Communist Government of China, Yan Zhengzhu. It proves that there is direct state oversight in the espionage of not only our country, but our companies as well. Now, what the United States is charging Yang Zhengzhu with is that Yang Zhengzhu would recruit employees of major aerospace companies. And then he would offer them to travel to China for free on their dime under the guise of asking them to deliver a presentation to a bunch of rich Chinese folks. And obviously, what these employees would do is when they would present in front of these Chinese folks in China, they would give out internal secrets, proprietary type of information, and they get paid for it. And this is what the Chinese were doing. They were literally going up to, Boeing employees and GE employees, every aerospace employee, basically recruiting them, telling them, hey, I send you China. I give you full-fledged trip to China. I put you in great hotel Beijing. You give us presentation about aerospace technology. I pay you $200,000. And, of course, if you got somebody on the payroll and, they're looking at $200,000 cash in their face, you got a lot of people that could potentially entertain that offer. And in February, somebody was busted, making that offer. In February, Yang Zhengzhu recruited a GE employee who sent him a presentation that contained the company's proprietary information and all kinds of secrets and stuff. Now, Zhu followed up and tried to contact the same employee that gave the presentation, and he asked for specific technical info and asked to meet this employee in Europe to exchange the info, and that is where he got busted. He got busted because the employee that exposed the GE proprietary secrets information got busted, and this is why we got this guy who is, once again, the Deputy Chief Minister of the State of Security of China. This man is a communist government, a Deputy Chief of the fucking Ministry of State, man. So, this goes to show you, in my opinion, why the Interpol chief that we've been talking about for the past several shows, who went missing and is now jailed in China, I think this is the reason why he was jailed in China. So very interesting what we have here. And the reason I bring this up is because this is heightening the trade war between the United States and China. And now we've got China with their hand in the cookie jar, and that's why Trump, in every rally, he said that China wants to make a deal, but then Trump goes, I don't think they're ready to make a deal. And this is why Trump has repeated that China is not ready to make a deal because of shit like this. Because of shit like this. So once again, the U.S. charges a Chinese spy, Yang Zhengzhu, who is the Deputy Chief of the Ministry of State Security in China, who sought to steal trade secrets from American aviation and aerospace companies, man. Unbelievable. This is definitely not going to win any brownie points with Trump as it pertains to China and their trade deal, I'll tell you that. And I hope that the arrest of this guy leads to more arrests. I hope that the arrest of this guy leads to the eventual arrest of all the people who've been doing business with China in the Democratic Party. I'm not kidding. The Dianne Feinsteins, the Hillary Clintons, the Bill Clintons, etc. All these Chinese-owned pieces of crap. I hope it leads to them all. I hope they're interrogating the hell out of Yang Zhengzhu, and I hope that he names names, baby. I hope he's like, oh, don't kill me, don't torture me. I tell you about Dianne Feinstein. I tell you about all that. I tell you about Kamala Harris. I tell you how we pay a koi booker. We pay a koi booker with a hooker. Booker with a hooker. I hope that they got him. I'm not even kidding around, man. I hope they get him, and I hope they interrogate this asshole. I hope they blindfold him with dental floss. I hope they feed him bad egg rolls, and I hope this goddamn zipperhead, I hope that he squeals like a pig and sings like a canary. All right? I hope he names names, all right? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let me move on, folks, because there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about on the agenda today. Let's talk a little bit about Hillary Clinton. That's right. Let's talk a little bit about Hillary Rotten Clinton. Why do I bring her? Because she came out publicly here, I think it was yesterday, in an interview saying Democrats won't be civil until Democrats get power back. Huh? How you like that? She said it! Hillary Rotten Clinton actually said it! These Democrats are justifying this violence. And all the political violence coming from today's modern America is coming directly from the left. Have y'all seen that footage of Antifa stopping cars in the middle of traffic in Portland, Oregon, and harassing old people, for Christ's sake? That's the left! That's the violence that the Democrats are stoking, man! They're stoking this violence! And here you have Hillary Clinton trying to justify it, for Christ's sake. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and hear her in her own words. Let's go ahead and listen to her. Here's Hillary Clinton talking about how the Democrats can't be civil until they get power back. All right? Listen, it's in her own words. Listen to this stupid broad. Justifying violence. I mean, how is this legal, man? How is this legal? Go ahead and put it on, engineer. This is Hillary Clinton saying that the Democrats will continue to be violent unless they get power back. Listen, this is her. Listen.
You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
Anyway, sorry. Whoever made this video is showing Antifa breaking glass windows of businesses and things of that nature. But you heard her. You heard her.
Party that's civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
Nah, man, they didn't. I'm trying to get a direct quote from this stupid Skankosaurus. And, you know, that's the bad part about YouTube. When you try to get a direct quote from these stupid people and you just want to hear the clip, you've always got these blowhards getting on there thinking that we give a shit about what the hell they're talking about, for Christ's sake. Good God, man. Pisses me off about that, man. I'm telling you. But anyway, she's basically stating that there should be no reason to be civil. There's no reason to be civil. And let me see where it is in this goddamn ridiculous interview.
Ideological party that is driven by the lust for power, that is funded by corporate interests who want a government that does its bidding. It's hard. You can be civil, but you can't overcome what they intend to do unless you win elections. And so the answer to everything is to get back to a balance, to get back to what is called regular order. They don't even have committee processes. The idea that they wouldn't seek and obtain all of the written record from Kavanaugh, that they would...
Did you hear this broad, man? I mean, aside from her instigating this violence, and you heard her, we can't be civil until we get power back. We can't be civil until we get power back. I mean, folks, this is what the Democrats are stoking, man. They're stoking this crap. And it's Hillary Clinton. I mean, did you hear the former Attorney General Eric Holder recently, what he said in a speech? He said recently, if they go low, we kick them. Huh? Yeah, that's not stoking violence. And look, lest we forget, if Eric Holder wants to run for president as he thinks he's going to, then maybe we'll bring up the fact that he was part of a violent uprising at his university in which he partook in an armed uprising of a given building at his university and held it hostage for a few days. Yeah, that's Eric Holder. And to think that this guy was our attorney general, can you believe that? And now this asshole wants to run for president? This guy said in a speech recently, quote, if they go low, we kick them. I mean, we even had this stupid, dumb, skankosaurus, coconut-drinking bimbo, Senator Mazi Hirono, justifying the recent violence by Democrats because of, quote, white supremacy. Did you hear her on this Sunday shows? Huh? Did you hear her on the Sunday shows? This fucking dumb broad from Hawaii who's got probably a goddamn pineapple shoved up her snatch hole or something, and she's a little upset about it. Mazi Hirono justifies Democrat violence because of, quote, white supremacy. Can you believe this? Because of, quote, white supremacy. I mean, folks, it's getting so serious now that we even had Rand Paul go on this morning and warn of an assassination because of the violent agitation coming from the left. Can you believe this? You got Rand Paul. And let me tell you something, man. Rand Paul should know, because Rand Paul witnessed the shooting of Steve Scalise. Rand Paul was also a victim of political violence. And, folks, it's the Democrats stoking this crap. And why aren't the FBI and the other authorities of this country trying to stop these criminals? Why? Why aren't they trying to stop this? And I'm telling each and every one of you that are law-abiding citizens, that are American people, that are on the right wing of the political spectrum, I'm telling you right now, practice your Second Amendment. Get guns, get a lot of guns, and get a lot of ammo, because I'm telling you, folks, that's the only way that's going to stop these disgusting, despicable human beings that hate themselves, that hate their lives. And I'm talking about the left. I mean, I talked about it, what was it, at the beginning of Monday's show. What was the demographic that was outside the courthouses in Capitol Hill and the White House in Washington, D.C. after the confirmation of Kavanaugh? What was all out there? A bunch of fatties, uglies, and faggots. Okay? And I even said that, I don't even understand these faggots that are out there. I mean, these are like twinks and traps. You would think they'd be prancing their little Twinkie ass at the nearest gay club. But the reason they're there with a bunch of fatties and uglies at a goddamn Brett Kavanaugh confirmation protest is because they're probably, in my opinion, all posholes. All posholes. And if you want my personal opinion, folks, I think that we need to strongly look at people who are HIV positive, because they are starting to become a threat to the United States. I've talked about this many times. I mean, lest we forget, in 2016, Project Veritas exposed many posholes for inflicting violence. I mean, lest we forget Scott Fovel. Scott Fovel was the Democratic organizer who organized the Trump rally in Chicago riots. He was the guy who organized bird dogging. Remember bird dogging? He was the one organizing violence. And you want to know why Scott Fovel had no problem organizing violence? Because he's been HIV positive for I don't know how many years. He even wrote a goddamn article about it on Huffington Post. Look it up. Look up Scott Fovel, Huffington Post, HIV. This was the guy behind the 2016 Trump rally in Chicago riot. It was him. A pothole. Another couple of potholes. Remember, they were caught by Project Veritas on tape. I don't know what they were doing there, but they were at Comet Pizza, of all places, ironically. But Project Veritas filmed two potholes bragging about how they were going to unleash some kind of poisonous gas at an inauguration event the night before the president was supposed to be inaugurated. I mean, I can go on and on, folks. These potholes, in my opinion, I mean, they're everywhere in all these protests. These people are starting to become a major danger to our country. And you know what's really unfortunate, folks, is that the reason they're becoming a danger is because we've become so accepting of them. And it's unfortunate, right? You would think that being accepting of a bunch of fucking gays and lesbos and bull dykes and trans testicles and pansexuals and all this shit, you would think that because we accept them and are not throwing them in jail or hurting them, that they'd be happy because they'd be able to get their holes massaged or diving on muffs or doing whatever the hell they want to do deviantly sexual all the time. Why are they bitching? This just goes to show, folks, that maybe we shouldn't be protecting the LGBTQ as much as we anticipated. Because if you want my opinion, us embracing the LGBTQ as an identity is what's caused the situations that we are currently in. And folks, from my experience and from many observations, once gays are afflicted with HIV/AIDS, they don't care about anybody. They want to see as much death and destruction around them because they're already on a death sentence. And prior to them being potholed, many gays are disconnected socially, hence why they're participating in promiscuous homosexuality. They've already been rejected from every social circle around, and the only group that truly accepted them was the gays. But why do they accept you in that gay community? Because they want to pause your neg hole. They want to pause your neg hole, folks. And where's the pride in that, huh, folks? And I've always been critical about the LGBTQ, about that. Where's the pride in, instead of protecting your community from all dying off of the AIDS and HIV, all right, you goddamn gays are promoting promiscuous, unprotected sex. You're promoting it on, I saw it on the subways of Canada. Have y'all seen the pictures of the subways in Canada talking about have whatever sex you want? It's of some black man and a picture of a black man and a white man doing some kind of homosexual activity, promoting Truvada or PrEP. And for all those that don't know, Truvada and PrEP is the supposed medication that prevents your neg hole from being paused. Which, I mean, I guess that means it's open season for anybody that wants to be a homosexual to just go ahead and have bareback sex, so long as you're on PrEP, right? I'm telling you, folks, I've never had any kind of hatred towards homosexuals, gays, trannies, or anything of that nature, but they brought it on themselves at this point now. I'm not even kidding. They have brought it on themselves because they are a death cult. They're a death cult, and once they get HIV, they want to make sure to take as many people as they can with them in whatever capacity, and they want to make sure that everybody around them has a horrible, miserable life just like they had. And that is what makes these people that are HIV and AIDS positive so dangerous to this country. I mean, I'm not kidding, folks. I have no qualms with anybody wanting to do whatever sexual act that they want. But once you start identifying your sexuality as the basis of your identity, that's when you start becoming socially and personally corrupt. And lest we forget, once you get your fucking neg hole paused, you become like every pause hole out here. You want to inflict as much death, destruction, and misery as possible. Why do you think the Democrats recruit all these pause holes? Why do you think the Democrats pander to these pause holes? I mean, folks, during the Obama administration, that's all he did. Oh, we're going to teach sex education to kindergartners. We're going to teach them how to masturbate and the difference between lesbianism and homosexuality. Oh, we're going to teach gender neutral and how to change your gender when they're 7 years old. And we're going to give them estrogen when they're 8 and all this shit. This all happened during Obama. You wonder why we have this many pause holes? You wonder why we have this many sexually warped people that don't even know whether they're male, whether they're woman, whether they're this, whether they're that. It's all because the Democrats are embracing this. And I've already read you in a book called The Encyclopedia of the American Left, I read you a good portion of how the gay and lesbian movement was used by the socialist and communist to achieve what the LGBTQ of this country has achieved. And that's why I'm saying, folks, I mean, in my opinion, if I were the president, I would just sign an executive order reversing gay marriage. I would take away all free Truvada, all free PrEP, or whatever the fuck it's called. Take away all this crap. And look, I mean, in my opinion, we shouldn't be paying for HIV/AIDS drugs either. I mean that was Obama's joke with his fucking Obamacare. Why do you think that these pause holes have no qualms of getting paused? Because Obama made it to where their health care will be completely taken care of by the healthy and the affluent. And to be completely honest, folks, it's the young that are paying for the old and sick in Obamacare. It's the biggest scam of all time. The young people that are barely, well, at least during Obama's administration, that were barely getting any money from their job to begin with, they were the ones that were paying for the pause holes and the old when it came to Obamacare. And that's why the pause holes have no fucking qualms. You know, oh, I don't care if I get pause hold. I don't care if I catch an STD. It's Obamacare. I could just go and get treated at the clinic and everything will be okay. That's how they all think, man. And now, having HIV is a fucking political statement. Do you know that? Having HIV is some kind of a fucking activist or something. I mean, folks, I talked about it. That this one drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race was wearing some kind of a shawl or some kind of a blouse or something that was dyed in HIV blood so that she can eliminate the stigma. And she's such an activist and she's so proud. I'm not kidding. Having HIV is now activism in this liberal lunatic mindset. I'm telling you right now. And this is why you have the left attempting to stoke violence. Because they have all these lonely people. They have all these miserable people. I mean, take a look, and once again, I strongly implore you, take a look at all the Antifa protests. Take a look at the Million Woman March. Take a look at the Brett Kavanaugh protests. All a bunch of fatties, uglies, and faggots. And the reason I'm saying fatties, uglies, and faggots is because, folks, there's a reason why they're there. They're there because they're either sick and got AIDS in the ass, or they're lonely, fat, disgusting, slovenly broads that nobody wants to touch except for black men, and then black men either bang them and leave them with a kid and, you know, leave them with bad credit because the fatty or ugly financed a 75 Cadillac on Dubs, and I mean that's what it is. That's all that's out there. Losers in life. And instead of trying to make yourself better Instead of trying to utilize the Trump economy to get yourself a job so you don't no longer have to be a loser, so you can freshen yourself up, so you can trim your fat ass down, so you can have some plastic surgery to not be an ugly whatever. Instead of doing that, they're out there protesting because it's the easiest thing to do. Jesus Christ. Are we going to continue taking this violence from the Democrats, folks? How long is the right going to sit, is my question. Let me have some high-quality H2O here. Anyway, folks, we are now in the third and final hour of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. Before we get started on anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internets and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And once again, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas Time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And once again, I love being independent now. Type this in your browser and, of course, add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites, the following, ghost.report, all right? That's the website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, ghost.report, all right? And not to mention, not only is it the home of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, but we got some riveting and some hardcore articles exposing the dirt on Democrats and a bunch of other people that are hypocritical within our government. All right, so go ahead and check it out, ghost.report. And once again, I want to say what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on, baby? If you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, then all you've got to do is go to my Gab account right now. Go to my Gab. If you don't have a Gab account, well, then go get yourself a free one. And once you do, follow me on there under the name Politics Ghost. All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow on Gab. And if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room like everybody in here, and I will be in the chat room later on tonight, baby. So if you want to come kick back with us, go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, and click the subscribe button for premium content, baby, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name. All right, and then I will private message you with a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple. And before I move on, let me go ahead and give some props to the people in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on, Hoodie? What's going on, Curly McWhirly? We got the God of Rage, Stagio, Pepe the Frog, Metaform in the house, Man Bear Pig, Herb Capitalist, Funky Butt Lovin', Extinction for Globalist, Distillin' in the house, Billy Cossack, Aquilian, Aesthetic. What's going on to everybody in the True Capitalist Radio chat room, baby? And if you want to be a part of it, come on down. Come on down. And before we move on to another subject matter, I do want to remind everybody, if you do appreciate the content that you're listening to, and I'm telling you, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you are listening to the political underground on the internet. And if you appreciate this broadcast and you want to sustain the continuity of this broadcast, well, then go to my website right now, ghost.report. All right, go to my website, ghost.report, and click the cryptocurrency wishing well tab, all right? Click the cryptocurrency wishing well tab and throw some cryptocurrency in the wishing well and have all your dreams come true while at the same time supporting the broadcast. So everybody who's out there who's donated more than $25 in cryptocurrency, I'm going to send you some production notes. I got production notes on the way, baby. So once again, thanks to all. Throw in some crypto in the cryptocurrency wishing well. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it, man. Anyway, let's go on with the broadcast. Now, let me go ahead and transition from the subject matter, since we were talking a little bit about LGBTQ and whatnot. This is the America that we are now living in, folks, okay? Listen to this. New York City creates a gender X option for birth certificates now. Can you believe this? Huh? Can you believe this? If you're some fucking liberal lunatic that shits out a kid, instead of checking to see its private parts and seeing if it's a wee-wee or something else, and either putting boy or girl on the goddamn birth certificate. No. In New York City, now you can put a gender X on your goddamn kid's birth certificate. I mean, good God, for Christ's sake, man. What are you doing, de Blasio, you sick commie bastard? Oh, my God. How is this not child abuse, first and foremost? And secondly, how can a parent make a life decision like this right after the kid just comes popping out of the womb? I mean, is this a parent's decision here? I mean, they just popped out a life out of their womb, for Christ's sake, and they're making a lifelong decision on choosing the goddamn gender? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous, man. I'm not joking, folks. In New York City, if you don't want to label a boy or a girl gender for your child after you shit it out of your goddamn uterus, now they have an option where you can put gender X, right? That's Jesus Christ. This is what I'm telling you, folks. I'm not kidding. Look, I have nothing against anybody who wants to do whatever the hell they want to do in the privacy of their own home. That ain't my business, okay? But once the LGBTQ becomes a movement and starts instigating policies like this, folks, we are literally living in a very weird, precarious situation, okay? I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Gender X, for fuck's sake? How can a parent make that life decision for a child, man? Oh, my God. But you know what? This is not isolated, folks. It's not just New York City that's doing this. California, the state, is doing this. Oregon is doing this. Washington State is doing it. And New Jersey is allowing the same birth certificate policy as New York City. This, and you notice they're mostly all liberal pieces shithole states. You notice that? I mean, this is what happens, folks. This is it. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, you would think that the gays, the LGBTQ, would be happy with the fact, once again, that they're not being gay bashed out here while prancing their asses around and holding hands and kissing each other. I mean, they should be happy that they live in a country where they can participate in this. All right? Instead, they're bitching and moaning for more and more. And what do they want? What do they want? They want your children! They want your children! That's why this sexualization of children is not only championed by the LGBTQ, it's also championed by the Democrats. It's championed by the Democrats, for Christ's sake, man. Why do you think they're going after your child's birth certificate? It's fucking pathetic. It is pathetic. And you know what this really is, folks? This goes to show you how diabolical in their planning the left truly is. The reason they're doing this, folks, is because this is a long-term plan to create loneliness amongst the U.S. populace. Because let's be honest, all right? If you identify as an LGBTQ person, which means that you want everyone who first meets you to identify your sexuality first and the content of your character second. If you're obliging this, then you are a primitive heathen, and the last thing that you or whatever partner that you get with is going to do is be monogamous. All right? Because let's be honest, the majority of people that are so proud of being LGBTQ are those that are sexual promiscuous cum dumpsters, for a lack of a better term. I'm sorry I gotta be so fucking vulgar. But it's the truth. All right, I'm sorry I gotta be so fucking vulgar, but it's the truth. And I'm just saying, folks, I mean, once again, they're going after your children. When is it going to stop? When are those of us on the right wing going to stand up and say, we're not going to let you do this, you sick pedophile maniacs? I mean, good God, folks. This is a long-term plan to create loneliness amongst the U.S. populace. Because, like I said, how many married gay people have you met since gay marriage has taken into effect? How many monogamous gays do you know? Not none. I mean, look at the fucking applications that the gay community has at their disposal. Grindr and Jax and all these stupid little hookup goddamn applications. Yeah, you know, folks, that Grindr is an application in which one can find an instantaneous sexual partner within a 5-mile radius of wherever the hell you're located. Yeah. That's what Grindr's all about. It's for hookups. It's for looking for, I don't know, whatever sexual liaison you want to do. Anonymous sex. This is what the gay community is doing. So, if you take a look at most gays, they're very, very lonely. They're lonely people. That's why they have a high suicide rate. Why? Because there are no friends in the gay community. I mean, there's the illusion of acceptance, but let's be honest. There is no true acceptance. They have their own social circles, their own hierarchies, and moreover, folks, the gays have no soul. I've seen it firsthand when I was in Austin, Texas, folks, that these homosexuals, they would purposely pause neg holes because they were the ripe, young, sweet asses walking their asses down on 6th Street. And everybody knew in the gay community who was HIV positive and who wasn't, but because everybody is so secretive and they don't want, I mean, let's be honest, they want everybody to suffer. That's why they want HIV everywhere. That's why they're encouraging unsafe sex within the community. It's a death cult, man. And let me tell you, there was a lot of people that have died in Austin, Texas of HIV. And you know what these gays do? They have a little bit of a vigil. Maybe they go to a funeral. And then later on that night, they're out there, snorting methamphetamine and drinking and, bending over or whatever they're doing. Daisy chain orgies, whatever the fuck they're doing. It's a death cult, man. They have no compassion. Death to gays is like no big fucking deal. I mean, these guys are dying all around them all the time. I mean, if you're in the gay community, you're knowing at least some people that are dying of HIV/AIDS. And most of these people, what do? They go to the funeral, and it's like, oh, it's sad. I won't be able to snort methamphetamine with him at the fucking club anymore, and I won't be able to service glory holes with him anymore. And then they go to the club later on, and they're bombed out of their minds, bending over, taking all takers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is why they are promoting this gay crap. All right? That's why they're promoting this gender X crap that they're putting in the New York City birth certificate. This is why they're doing it, folks. They're trying to create a lonely population. And you know what lonely people do? Lonely people don't have anybody backing them up. They become depressed. They make mistakes. They're financially irresponsible. You know what I mean? Because nobody's there to be like, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. They don't have a significant other that truly cares about them. And if they don't have anybody that cares about them, if they're a part of the LGBTQ community, they don't even care about themselves. Hence, them being sexually promiscuous and not protecting themselves from the AIDS and the HIV. I mean, most people that are a part of the community are already half dead before they get HIV fucking positive. They're already half dead. I mean, anyone that have any self-respect for themselves would not put themselves in such a dangerous situation in which you could contract such a fatal disease. And look, something needs to happen, man. America needs to wake up, and we need to stop this before it gets completely and totally out of control. And look, if you gays complain about, oh my God, look at Ghost, he's anti-gay. I'm not anti-gay. I'm anti-LGBTQ, for Christ's sake, man. All right? Yeah, but the reason I'm anti-LGBTQ is because it has become a political movement, and that political movement, folks, is nothing more than destruction. Destruction, resistance, the shit that you're seeing the Democrats do right now. So once again, I didn't mean to get off on this tirade, but something has to be done, man. We have to stop this. Look, we wouldn't be having this problem if we wouldn't have embraced this whole LGBTQ notion as an alternative lifestyle, as an identity. We wouldn't be here. And you know, it's sad to say that. It's sad because I'm sure most liberal folks that are socially liberal are like, hey, man, people should be able to do whatever they want to do. And I agree. But, folks, when you have mentally irresponsible people like the LGBTQ people that are not only mentally irresponsible but emotionally broken, in which they will subject themselves to potentially fatal exposure of disease just for a mere simple moment of gratification, folks, there is something wrong. There is something wrong, man. And it's got to be stopped. Look, we embrace these people. Why are they bitching? They could suck each other's cocks across the street from a fucking elementary school. It's protected by the First fucking Amendment. Why are they bitching? They've got gay pride parades where they shut down streets and these fucking guys are butt fucking each other all across the goddamn street. Why are they bitching? Why are they bitching? They're accepted in America. There's no gay bashing. We're not throwing gays off buildings. Why are they bitching? Because we accepted it, folks. I hate to say it. And look, it has nothing to do with the act of sex itself. It's the identity. It's people defining themselves on how they like to fuck. That's how they define themselves. They become nothing but feel-good heathens. If it feels good, do it. And then once they get afflicted with the HIV/AIDS, they're already lost. They're done with. So they want to take as many people as they want with them. They want to make as many people as miserable as they are with them. And tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that that's not the case of HIV/AIDS peeps. Tell me that's not. That's bullshit. You know it and I know it. And like I said, coming back to this New York City creating a gender X option for birth certificates, aside from this being child abuse, because I don't understand how a parent can make a life decision like this right after coming out of the womb. I mean, if you see a penis or you don't, you basically know the gender. I don't understand what gender X is supposed to mean, and I don't understand if the goddamn kid is going to understand what it means either. But, folks, this is a long-term plan to create loneliness amongst the United States. So people become desperate. And people become poor because, I mean, you know, when you're by yourself, what is the saying? Idle hands are the devil's playground. Idle hands are the devil's playground, folks. And when you got a lot of lonely people, they get bored, they get lonely, they get idle, and they do dumb shit. And it ends up costing them. Hence, why you have so many people in the Occupy movements, why you have so many people in the Million Woman March, Antifa. These are people that made decisions. They're lonely. They made bad decisions in which they don't see a future in their lives, so they find identity in these stupid, meaningless groups. And being a part of the LGBTQ, folks, it's meaningless, man. It's meaningless. It's just how you like to fuck. That's it. There's no identity in it. I mean, even if you get HIV positive, there's no identity in that. There's no activism in that. You're just going to die. So we got to stop this, in my opinion. And look, I'm saying that we eliminate free medical care for people with HIV/AIDS. And people can call that heartless all they want to. I think it's more dangerous that we're condoning sex that is unsafe with HIV/AIDS people by saying, don't worry, as long as you're on PrEP, don't worry about getting HIV as long as you take the PrEP pill. And by the way, has anybody even asked what the fucking side effects are to Truvada? Has anybody ever asked? I've actually asked homosexuals, especially out in Austin, Texas, what the hell it does to them. They even admit it messes with their heads. One person admit it makes them a little loopy. So what the hell are they putting in Truvada? I mean, I can say the same thing for the birth control for females. I think that the birth control that females are taking, I think that this has a contributing factor to the insanity that we're seeing amongst women in Western civilization. I'd like to take a study, or somebody out there who's studying this should take a study on how many of these insane fucking women that are out here in the Million Woman March, how many of these insane, feminist, disgusting, leftist, agitating pieces of loser garbage, I'd like to take a test on how many of them actually took birth control. Because I honestly believe that birth control is a big contributing factor to a lot of women going nuts. In my opinion, I honestly believe that. I honestly believe it. Anyway, folks, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Let me move on. We got a lot of international news to talk about here. One thing I want to talk about, folks, have y'all heard about this claim by Turkey that a Saudi journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, was murdered? This is what Turkey's alleging, that he was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Turkey. Did y'all hear about this guy? This guy, Jamal Khashoggi, he's been all over the media, you know, and Turkey, they're the ones that brought this up, that this guy went inside to a Saudi consulate within Turkey, never came out. Now Turkey's claiming that Jamal Khashoggi was murdered in that consulate. Now, of course, the Saudis are denying it, but let me tell you what, in my opinion, once again, I got to say my opinion again because I don't want to give anybody away, but I'm going to assure you guys that Jamal Khashoggi was not only murdered, okay, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Khashoggi, all right? Now, y'all ready for this, folks? Now, okay, let's just go ahead and assume that the Saudi royal family murdered him, because they did. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, they lured him into the consulate. They made sure to have one of their kill teams go into the consulate. They murdered him, chopped up his body, and they left in a van, probably scattered his body parts all over Turkey somewhere. Okay, but why did they do it? Well, let's take a look at the Saudi kingdom right now, right? The Saudi kingdom is reforming the way it sees itself as a governing body. It's being less Wahhabist in its nature. If you don't know what Wahhabism is, then I'd strongly advise you to Google that up. But it's basically wild Yehudi jihadism. It's become less Wahhabist and more secular. It's taken little tiny steps into becoming a secular Muslim nation. Now, I'm not saying it's taken giant steps, but it certainly is taking steps in the direction of being a little more secular than the Wahhabist kingdoms of the kings of old, okay? Now, with that being said, folks, Jamal Khashoggi was actually a Wahhabist himself. Jamal Khashoggi was not only a Wahhabist, he was a Saudi journalist that literally followed the goddamn life of one Osama bin Laden. That's right, he had many different interviews with Osama bin Laden, going back to the Afghan-Russian War. Supposedly, he had such a tight relationship with Osama bin Laden because of how many times he interviewed him, that he was actually sought, or he himself actually sought to see if he could influence Osama bin Laden from refraining from his violence, right? Now, I want to be honest with you folks. Let's be honest with each other. We all know that Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, ISIS, this is all CIA-created shit. You all have to know this. If you don't know at this time, I think I've said this a few times, the CIA code name for Osama bin Laden was, what was it, Tom Osman? Tim Osman, my bad. Tim Osman was the CIA name for Osama bin Laden, lest we forget that the bin Laden family is a wealthy family because they were the construction company that created and built many of the buildings that now reside in the Saudi Arabian skylines. And Khashoggi over here, the missing Saudi journalist, this guy interviewed bin Laden many times. So if Osama bin Laden was CIA, which he was, I mean, let's be honest, folks, supposedly when the SEAL Team 6 went into that Pakistan compound and supposedly killed him, we didn't see any proof of death of Osama bin Laden. We didn't see any body of Osama bin Laden. Remember, Barack Obama said that we're going to honor Osama bin Laden and his Muslim ways, and we're not going to show his death, and we're just going to go ahead and throw him into the sea. We didn't see nothing. We didn't see shit. Now, why? I'm going to be honest with you, folks. Osama bin Laden died in 2002, okay? Everybody knows it, and let me explain who knew it, and they're no longer on this earth, okay? Now, let's take a look back at Pakistan during the tenure of Pervez Musharraf. Pervez Musharraf was the leader of Pakistan during the post 9/11 time frame from about 2001 to about 2004 or 5. Now, during that time, folks, there was a woman that came back to Pakistan to run against Pervez Musharraf, and her name was Bizir Bhutto. Bizir Bhutto was a woman that came back and was trying to campaign to be the leader of Pakistan, and in an interview with Bizir Bhutto, she admits, and you can look this up on YouTube if you don't believe me, she says in an interview that Osama bin Laden was dead. He had been dead since 2002, and that everybody in Pakistan knew it. And guess what? Guess what happened to Bizir Bhutto? She was fucking assassinated! Remember that? Remember when Bhutto was assassinated? She was fucking assassinated! She was assassinated because she said too much, okay? And yet this guy, Jamal Khashoggi, claims that he continued to have interviews with bin Laden post-2002. Now, what am I saying, folks? I'm telling you that Jamal Khashoggi was CIA. What do I tell you about many of the Wahhabists of the Saudi royal family? They were connected to the CIA. That's why when the Great Purge happened in Saudi Arabia, when Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of today's Saudi Arabia kingdom, when he had the purge and took out the bin Laden family, he took out Al-Walid, which is one of the big billionaire princes out of damn Saudi Arabia. He took out he took out Bandar Bush. Remember Bandar Bush? Prince Bandar. Prince Bandar. They called him Bandar Bush because he would go and have vacations with the Bushes. He was the former head of the Saudi intelligence, Bandar Bush. I mean, Mohammed bin Salman jailed and purged all these guys, okay? They were all former Wahhabists. They were the ones that helped the former CIA operations under Bush and Obama. They were the guys that aided this whole war on terror. This whole war on terror. Remember, I told you on Monday about that limo crash that killed 20 people. Who owned the limo? The guy, what was his name? Fucking whatever his stupid Arab name. Whatever. Look at my production notes here. What the hell was his goddamn name? His name was, Shahed Hussein. Okay? Prestige Limousine. What was Shahed Hussein? What was Shahed Hussein? Shahed Hussein was somebody who would entrap people for the FBI so that the FBI could say to the media that we stopped a terrorist act in the domestic home front. We stopped this. We stopped that. This guy who owned that limo that killed 20 people was an FBI informant that did this for the FBI. Okay? He did this many times for the FBI. He literally would go into poor towns and typically would go up to black people, of all people, And he would throw around $100,000 or so and say, hey, you do this for me, you take this over here, take this over there, I give you $100,000, we are going to hit up America, you don't have to do nothing, all this shit, and he would entrap people for the FBI. That's what Shahed Hussein was, okay? And I said on Monday that this guy was used on a domestic front to justify the war on terror. Because the war on terror, folks, was a fucking lie. It was a joke. We created ISIS. We created Al-Qaeda. We created bin Laden. I mean, folks, come on, wake up, man. Why is it after 9/11, when all planes were grounded for those days after 9/11, how come the only planes that were in the air who were authorized by the Bush administration were planes taking the bin Laden family members out of the United States back to Saudi Arabia? I mean, that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. Those were the only planes in the air. Now, I'm sorry I'm going into all this, but you have to follow me a little bit. You have to follow me because all this shit is connected. All this shit is connected. Now, what am I saying? Okay, the ISIS and Al-Qaeda factions were created by the CIA. And now, instead of the CIA utilizing those factions against the United States and its interest, now under the Trump administration, we are utilizing those ISIS and Al-Qaeda assets on our foes. And I've been talking about this for months. I've been saying that that's why we're seeing ISIS show up in Afghanistan. ISIS is showing up in Chechnya. ISIS is showing up all over the place against our enemies. ISIS took responsibility for the Iranian attack on their military parade. And I said this was going to happen. Now, when you do something as drastic as that, when you change the agenda from utilizing the Al-Qaeda and ISIS assets and change it from hitting up us to hitting up other enemies who are helping us in this Al-Qaeda bullshit, you have factions of the CIA that are not down with this. And you have, like, Brennan and other CIA operatives that have been very, very vocal in the media, John Clapper, these types of people. They are not with the new agenda of the Trump administration. Okay? Moreover, those factions of the CIA and the Bush family, on top of that, they feel that they could be potentially jeopardized and outed publicly for the terrorist acts that they basically ordered on the United States, that they're afraid that many of the purged Saudi Arabians that are connected to the Bush family, that are connected to 9/11, that are connected to the war on terror, are going to sell out and sing and implicate the Bushes in something very nefarious. Not just the Bush family, but his administration and the Obama administration, because lest we forget, this war on terror continued under Obama. Remember, he armed and trained ISIS. And what did he do? He utilized them to cause havoc in the Middle East, to cause the migrant crisis for Europe, etc. Now, stay with me here, okay? Now that the United States is utilizing its assets its Al-Qaeda and ISIS assets against its foes, you've got factions of the CIA and people who work for the CIA that are a little upset. Now, Jamal Khashoggi was one of those people on the other side of the CIA, the Wahhabist side of the CIA-connected Saudis. Now, get this. Why are we making such a big deal about this fucking Saudi Arabian and him potentially being offed by his own Saudi Arabian government? Because Jamal Khashoggi, folks, was writing for who? The CIA-connected Washington Post. And why do I say the CIA-connected Washington Post? Folks, who owns the Washington Post? Jeff fucking Bezos. Jeff Bezos, folks, it's notorious. It's a meme now that he's a part of the CIA, because it's been admitted in many different articles that Amazon and the CIA do direct business with one another. And if you're doing business with the CIA, you're a part of the CIA. And Jeff Bezos, I mean, it's a meme. It shows Jeff Bezos in 98 looking like some Skeletor-looking soy boy, and they look at him now, and he's all some built, ripped, bald-looking CIA nigger. I'm not kidding! I'm not kidding! It's notorious that Jeff Bezos is connected with the CIA. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Amazon Cloud Services services the goddamn CIA, if I'm not mistaken. But, folks, Amazon wouldn't have become Amazon if it wasn't for something like that. Remember that. I mean, look it up. Okay, look up Jeff Bezos CIA. Look, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, Khashoggi was hired by the Washington Post, and he was based out of Turkey. Now, if you take a look at a lot of the journalistic pieces that Jamal Khashoggi would put out, he would put out a lot of pieces against the current kingdom of Mohammed bin Salman and be very critical. Very critical. And on top of that, he'd be very critical of Donald Trump as well. And why is that, folks? Because this guy, Jamal Khashoggi, much like how the CIA utilizes CNN and MSNBC, and if you don't think that they're CIA propaganda machines, you're a fucking idiot. Take a look at Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper was recruited by the CIA in college. You can look that shit up. Take a look at just look at the people's names on TV. And just look them up and see how many of them are connected with the CIA. Much how, like the CIA utilizes CNN and MSNBC, you actually have the Washington Post, not only read by American people, the Washington Post is read by people worldwide. And because they had somebody like Khashoggi as a correspondent, he would be directly responsible in literally criticizing anything that Mohammed bin Salman did. Calling him a hypocrite, calling him this, that, trying to infuriate the Muslim world. Now, why is Turkey giving a shit about whether or not a Saudi journalist went into a consulate, never came out? Because, folks, Turkey, by utilizing the outcry for Jamal Khashoggi, Turkey wants to indirectly connect the ISIS fighters with the United States by highlighting, and that's why you're seeing this all over the fucking media. That's why you're seeing this all over the media. Jamal Khashoggi. Who gives a shit? I didn't see this much outcry when fucking the liberal reporter Michael Hastings, when he got fucking assassinated, when they took control of his fucking car and blew it up right before it hit a goddamn tree. I didn't see this much outcry for Andrew Breitbart when Andrew Breitbart just collapsed in the middle of the street and the only witness that saw it went missing, and the guy who did the autopsy for Andrew Breitbart had a convenient heart attack a week later. I didn't hear all this, all right? I didn't hear all this outcry. Why are we hearing it now? Because Turkey is trying to utilize the Jamal Khashoggi disappearance in an attempt to try to expose the Al-Qaeda situation, and the ISIS situation that the CIA, our CIA, created. And that's what it all comes down to, folks. I mean, Jamal Khashoggi was murdered. He was chopped up by the Saudis to shut him the fuck up. And if you want my opinion, I don't think that we should give a shit. I don't think that we should give a shit, for Christ's sake, man. I mean, this is CIA versus CIA. That's what this is. I mean, lest we forget that Benghazi, remember Benghazi? Remember when Hillary Clinton said, "What difference does it make if a couple of people died? What difference does it make?" Well, folks, I told you that Benghazi was nothing more than a CIA gun-running operation which brought the guns from Turkey down to Benghazi and distributed those guns to the ISIS fighters. Why do you think that the compound in which Ambassador Stevens was in, Why do you think that he was being protected by CIA agents? I mean, I like how the media pretended that Benghazi compound was a consulate. If it was a consulate, Ambassador Stevens would have been protected by United States soldiers. But instead, he was protected by CIA operatives. And that's why they let those guys die without any kind of backup, folks, because they could jeopardize the whole entire operation. And that's why they let them die. I mean, let's be honest. That's why they let them die. Now, the bottom line is that Turkey was heavily involved with the Wahhabist operation that the Obama administration, even the Bush administration, was arming out here in the Middle East. And that's why Turkey now is utilizing this as a platform to expose that. Because right now, lest we forget that we put a lot of major sanctions on Turkey. All right? And Turkey right now is in a very precarious economic situation. And, the reason that we're putting Turkey in that economic situation is because Turkey is starting to kind of play both sides of the fence of international relations. It's trying to do business with us. It's trying to do business with Russia. It's trying to do business with the terrorists. I mean, they don't know what the hell they're doing, and that's why we have put these sanctions on Turkey, and that's why Turkey's in a precarious situation. And by Turkey highlighting this missing journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, it gets national media. And now you notice the media is asking the president personally, what about this missing journalist? Did y'all remember? And the president, let's be honest, he doesn't give a shit. I mean, Jamal Khashoggi, it benefits the president that this guy's fucking dead. It benefits the president that this guy's fucking dead. So this is why Turkey is coming out and claiming that, that Jamal Khashoggi was murdered, because he was, and that they're making a big deal about it because they're trying to expose publicly the United States is linking with all this Al-Qaeda, ISIS nonsense that we've come to know and love in modern-day international relations. So, very interesting. They're not going to find Khashoggi, man. He's been chopped up in little pieces. And I'm sure his body parts are somewhere, either in the nearest ocean or scattered across Turkey or somewhere. Because he was eliminated for a reason. And because, let's be honest, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, he has to rule with this kind of an iron fist. He's dealing with all the Wahhabist faction of his royal family. Lest we forget that the Wahhabist faction of the Saudis consist of those Saudis that gave money to the Taliban. The whole reason why the Taliban was able to flourish at all was because Saudi Arabia was paying them. Saudi Arabia funds all the madrasas, or at least they did. That was before Mohammed bin Salman took the reign. They were funding all the madrasas that have they've produced all these wild Yehudis. And now you've got a complete reversal in that policy. And because you have a reversal of that policy, the old guard, the old Wahhabists aren't going to just stand by. They're going to feel pretty betrayed. And that's what you're seeing right now. That's what you're seeing right now before your eyes. Because why would we give a shit? I'm telling you, why does the world give a shit about this stupid moron, Jamal Khashoggi? Why do we give a shit? This is a guy who was so close to bin Laden, supposedly, that he almost convinced him to stop his violence. That's fucking on his Wikipedia. Go check it out. I'm just saying. Anyway, folks, let's move on, all right? We're running out of time here. We got about 15 minutes left. I want to get to a couple of subject matters. I want to talk about a little bit about China here. Now, after the testy meeting between Pompeo and China, in which the Chinese foreign minister criticized the United States for the trade tensions and even acknowledging Taiwan, did you hear Taiwan today, folks? I'm telling you, China it's going to find itself very isolated, as much nuts as it's attempting to fucking flex, okay? And the reason I'm saying this is because aside from a very iffy relationship that they have with India, aside from a very iffy relationship that they have with Pakistan, aside from a very iffy relationship that they have with North Korea, all of which, well, except for North Korea, are nuclear powers, although North Korea, it was trying to be a nuclear power. It obviously has ballistic missiles. So, I mean, you know, China's surrounded by nuclear and ballistic missile powers, even though it's trying to flex its nuts in the region. And on top of that, folks, you got Taiwan coming out, baby. Taiwan coming out, and it vows. This is the president that said this, and this is a female president. Her name is Tsai Ing-wen. Ing-wen went on a very big, huge tirade denouncing China and promising and vowing to never surrender to China in a very fiery speech. This is after Pompeo went to China and the foreign minister criticized Pompeo, or not really Pompeo, but the United States for, you know, prolonging the Chinese trade tensions and acknowledging Taiwan. And I don't blame the president acknowledging Taiwan. And for you folks that are unfamiliar with the history of this place, Taiwan are all the Chinese that escaped mainland China because of Mao Zedong's communist takeover. These are the people that were following Chiang Kai-shek, the Chinese nationalist that ruled over China prior to Mao Zedong taking over China. Taiwan, this is the Chiang Kai-shek folk. And for whatever reason, even though they're both Chinese in blood, you know, they hate each other, and China has been flexing its nuts for the past 20 to 30 years, claiming that it's going to one day invade Taiwan. It's going to one day invade Taiwan and unify the people of Taiwan, all this other nonsense. And to be honest with you, you know, I think at this point, since the Chinese are trying to obviously pay off our politicians, spy on us, commit espionage on our companies, and all this shit, I think that it only behooves us to get more and more closer to Taiwan at this point in time, even if it's only to piss off the Chinese. And I'm glad that the Taiwanese are realizing how dangerous this is, and they realize that they can never surrender to communist China. I mean, the president said it, Ing-wen. She said they vow never to surrender. And I can only imagine how much of a battle that would be, to say the least, because I'm sure that there are heirs or lineage, I should say, of Chiang Kai-shek and his soldiers that want to get some fucking payback on these commies, to say the least. You know what I mean? Oh, I love hearing this. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I mean, things are happening across the world. I think people need to understand why and how they're happening. That's why you get the straight political dope right here on True Capitalist Radio, baby. Ain't nobody giving this type of political truth. Come on, man. Anyway, once again, after the testy meeting between Pompeo and China, in which the Chinese foreign minister criticized the U.S. for trade tensions and acknowledging Taiwan, Taiwan vows never to surrender to China in a speech right after this meeting with Pompeo and the Chinese. Oh, man, give me my freaking high-quality H2O here. Man, I wish that was a beer! I don't know. Let's see if I can get some beer this weekend. I don't know. I'm trying to, cut down on the drinking, so you know how that works. Anyway, let me get to the last but not least subject matter of the day. I want to talk a little bit about Egypt. Now, the son of Egypt's former president, remember when the Muslim Brotherhood took control and they put in Mohamed Morsi as the president? And Mohamed Morsi was overthrown by then General Sisi, now President Sisi. And the reason why the Muslim Brotherhood was overthrown, and this is completely legit. The intelligence agencies of Egypt caught Mohammed Morsi talking on a phone line with Al-Qaeda leader Zawahiri. Zawahiri is the old man that used to stand next to Osama bin Laden, you know, the old man with a dot on his head, and, you know, he'd have his Kalashnikov in back of him, and he'd have his finger pointing at you every video. Well, this is why Mohammed Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood were completely taken out by General Sisi. And thank God he was. Okay? And since then, most of the Muslim Brotherhood was executed, and Mohammed Morsi, which was the former president of Egypt, has been arrested and been in prison ever since. Anyway, Abdullah Morsi, which is his youngest son, Mohammed Morsi's youngest son, he was arrested in Egypt recently for, quote, spreading false news. And the false news that Abdullah Morsi was spreading is that his father is in poor health, and the reason he's in poor health is because the Egyptian authorities are torturing him, and so on and so forth. So, as a result, Mohammed Morsi's youngest son, Abdullah Morsi, was arrested. Who knows if he's getting out? And let me tell you, President El-Sisi, the guy who is in charge, he's been recently reelected. He has vowed to crack down on Islamic insurgency, and he's also vowed to restore the order after the chaos of the Arab Spring. Because lest we forget, folks, that the reason the Muslim Brotherhood came to power is because this ridiculous Arab Spring that was quarterbacked by the CIA once again. Remember, we were there. Remember, I tried to literally tweet at the CIA operative that was causing the uprising in Tahrir Square in Egypt. Y'all remember that? I was talking about Wael Ghanem. Remember Wael Ghanem? Remember Wael Ghanem? That Egyptian, quote-unquote, Google executive, a.k.a. CIA operative? I don't know if y'all remember, folks, but during the beginning of the Arab Spring, Wael Ghanem, which was a Google executive, utilized first world communication technology via Twitter, Facebook, in a third world nation. And what's unfortunate, folks, is that Mubarak, the guy who ran Egypt prior to the Arab Spring, was incrementally bringing in economic freedom to his country. Hence, why do you think Egyptians at that particular time had computers, had cell phones? They got acquainted with social media. And because you introduced first world communication technology to a third world nation, the CIA, utilizing Wael Ghanem, a CIA executive, Wael Ghanem utilized these social medias to cause the occupation of Tahrir Square. He would get on Twitter, he would get on Facebook and say, if you're an Egyptian and you care about the freedom of Egypt and all this shit, let's go to Tahrir Square. And that's when they occupied Tahrir Square. Y'all remember that? I remember it vividly. I was against the Arab Spring. I was against the uprising in Egypt. Y'all remember that? At first it was just a bunch of people out there protesting at Tahrir Square. And then what Ghanem realized is that if he kept Tahrir Square with a whole bunch of Egyptians protesting, that eventually the police will start police brutality on the people at Tahrir Square. And that's what they wanted, because why? There were so many international cameras on Tahrir Square. They wanted the police to beat them so that the people could see it on camera, and it would justify their overthrow of Mubarak. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened, folks. Wael Ghanem, the CIA operative, a.k.a. Google executive, you could Google this guy up, believe it or not. I was tweeting at him. I tweeted at him during 2011 to 2010. I was tweeting him and saying, you're a fucking spook, you're a fucking piece of trash, and he would not answer me. He would not answer me whatsoever. Anyway, it was Wael Ghanem that caused the first uprising in Egypt that overthrew Mubarak. And as a consequence, who came to power? The Muslim Brotherhood and Mohammed Morsi. And guess what? Obama was more than willing to do business with him. Did you know that Barack Obama gave Mohammed Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood all kinds of millions and millions of dollars in U.S. dollars in support? Did y'all know that? Did you all know that there is a warrant for Barack Obama in Egypt, and he will never step foot in Egypt again because of his support for the goddamn Muslim Brotherhood? Did you know that? That's what happened, folks. That's what happened. And I'm glad that General El-Sisi, once the Muslim Brotherhood took control of the government, once Mohammed Morsi was president, I'm glad that he took it upon himself, being the general of the army, of the military, to usurp power from these damn Muslim Brotherhood assholes, execute the Muslim Brotherhood in Parliament, and jail Mohammed Morsi. I'm glad he did it, because all these people in the Muslim Brotherhood are Yehudis. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at the history of the Muslim Brotherhood, they were the first Islamic Yehudis. They were the first ones committing suicide and saying Allah snack bar and shit in the 20th century. They go back to the 20s, the 1920s, the Muslim Brotherhood. It is their foundation is what created modern-day Islamic Yehudi terrorism. Look it up! And thank God General El-Sisi went in and literally took care of that, jailed these sons of bitches, executed them, etc. Anyway, folks, that is it. That is all I've got on this Wednesday, October 10th, 2018, episode number 627. I do want to say thanks to everybody out there who's listening in, folks. I mean, let me tell you, right here is where you're going to get the straight political dope, man. I'm telling you right now, everything I tell you, I encourage you, you're on the internet, go look it up for yourself. And scour the internet, and just don't look at one source, look at multiple sources, and you'll find out that Ghost is absolutely right. And listen, I mean, I want to be honest with you. I'm not going to explain to you why I know all this stuff, but, you know, you're lucky I do, so that you, whoever's listening to me, is informed about it, and you know the realism of the world. The realism of the world. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. I am going to be back on Friday, okay? Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas Time, and I hope that you tune in with me on this Baller Friday. I hope that you tune in with me, folks, all right? And hopefully, I'm going to try to do something a little different, all right? I mean, I understand right now that we're going through a major crypto contraction. Maybe I'll give out some crypto this Friday. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Maybe another scavenger hunt. I don't know. But it's time to do something a little fun, so let everybody know that Ghost is going to be a little free format this Friday. You know, we're going to get a little wacky, we're going to get a little nutty, so make sure to tune in with us at Ghost.Report. Once again, this Baller Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas U.S. time. Once again, the official website, Ghost.Report. That's what you type in your browser. That's what you add to your favorites, Ghost.Report. Once again, I'm going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room in about 25 minutes. If you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, then come on down, baby. Go to my Gab account right now. Go to my Gab right now. Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost, and click the subscribe button for premium content, baby, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will private message you back with a personal and private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room, baby. It's that damn simple. And before I go, I want to remind everybody, if you do appreciate the content that you're listening to, if you want to sustain the continuity of this broadcast, I strongly ask you all to take a look at ghost.report and click the tab that states cryptocurrency wishing well. All right? Click the tab that says cryptocurrency wishing well and throw some cryptocurrency into the wishing well. And not only will all your dreams come true, but you will also be helping the broadcast and sustain the continuity of that broadcast, baby. Because like I said, I don't make nothing off this broadcast. I mean, I got more money going out than I do coming in. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, this has become a little bit of an expensive hobby. But the reason I keep doing it, folks, is because look at the political and social and economic landscape of this country. I've got to do it. I've got to continue to do it. Because if I don't do it, then a lot of other people aren't going to do it. And it just... I got to do it, folks. That's why I keep doing it, man. I know sometimes I sound pissed off. I know sometimes I sound a little melancholy, but by God, if I don't at least try, then I am nothing. That's what I always say. If you do nothing, you are nothing. And I'm not going to just do nothing. I am not nothing. And all of you that are listening, you're not nothing either because you're listening to this broadcast, all right? Anyway, folks, thank you all very much for tuning into this broadcast. I appreciate each and every one of you who listens. Regardless if you like me or you hate me, I do appreciate you listening. Now, once again, we are underground, baby. So spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody know about the True Capitalist Radio chat room, baby. This is the political underground. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in with me. I will be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room here in about 25 minutes. If you want to come join us, come on down, baby. Anyway, I will see you all on Baller Friday. You better be here. You better tell as many people as you know to be here. All right, because I'm hoping for a little bit of a free format Baller Friday. A little bit of a cryptocurrency scavenger hunt. Something like that. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in with me. And until next time, long live the capitalist army and death to feminism! Death to socialism! And death to communism! I hope to see you here on a Baller Friday, baby. You better be here, all right, on that Baller Friday, all right? I'll see you all later. And by the way, enjoy the liberal tears. They taste so delicious. Enjoy them. I'm out of here. Woo!